Good to go. Okay, gonna do this all fresco tonight or whatever I need to do. Warm up back tonight is gonna be going over a little bit of the Ethan Klein stuff. There's a little bit of interest and overlap with the video I'm choosing to do. But first of all, yeah, I rewatched the Willie Mac first video on Destiny, and Queeman's reading on that is incredibly not generous from when he popped up on the stream last time. I mean, maybe if you take some of the sections in isolation, I can get it. But overall, bad faith reading of that particular video there. So let me get into what I really want to get into.
Ethan Klein of the H3 podcast.
I definitely want to try to keep this fair use. I'll let this pop up where it is and how it is. So let's go with this. And this is what we're doing.
Attaching this clip.
Well, I'm happy to tell you guys now.
And just to let you know, it's internet burst video for anyone curious. I'm going to speed run this. Give it about 20 minutes before I get into more pressing matters.
I, Ethan Klein, have registered Hassan Piker content noob with right into a camera and saying outright, hey, I'm stealing this guy's content. And with people like
let's all thank Hassan for ending React content. Darkside Phil quote tweets the post and says, there are
and sets a devastating precedent that could endanger our entire field.
Wick TV replies, React content was always the worst type of content to be honest.
Oh, look, Wick pops up here. Very interesting.
Honest, lazy, unimaginative slop. That said, I am always happy when people react to my stuff, so maybe there's a balance to be struck. Carl says, let's all thank Hassan for ending React content. Darkside Phil quote tweets the post and says, there are entire channels making bad users to do you beg for retarded. Content nuke video to bait Hassan into watching it, so he Klein video, this time with the caption, Ethan Klein review.
Yes, this seems dishonest from whoever this person is.
He created his content nuke video to bait Hassan into watching it so he could sue him for copyright. Because Hassan never finished the video after spending 9 hours reacting to half, Ethan is suing 3 smaller female streamers instead.
What if I could make a long-form, irresistible piece of content that I knew that these streamers couldn't resist, they couldn't avoid the temptation of watching it the second it was published?
I don't have an issue with them.
It's not that I wanted these people to steal my video. It's that I knew they would. I knew they would watch the...
Yep, seems to be rather bad of a framing from whoever that account is. Denham's got more views. This argument from Ethan is a little presumptuous, working with them.
A lot of comments about wanting to watch the nuke without showing support for H3. Here's a list of creators who have supported our sub, either by engaging with us directly or citing our post in their critique of H3. Here they're offering these streamers as market substitutes for my work. But how do you get the streamers themselves to admit that they're stealing content?
If you enjoyed not giving any views to that terrible video, follow, subscribe, throw a prime. If you like the content, if you enjoyed.
Yeah, he's basically saying, yeah, rewarding her for stealing it. So, this is a little stupid here.
Your time here.
It turns out they just do it for you.
Can't Ever Die replies, oh wow, he is actually an insane psychopath. MG2 Master says, so let me get this right. He admits that this was a honeypot so he can entrap people to sue. Additionally, he is selectively choosing who he sues. Yes, this will go well in court since all of this is on tape. Dude is a psychopath. And Jonathan,
like, you gotta love the actual people talking about this court stuff. So I said, just doing this as a warm-up thing. Oh, yeah, here's important part, context.
His producer, Dan, from about 2 years back, with Ethan talking about his IP.
Okay, here's to all the industrial entrepreneuring spirits out.
I'll actually shorten this up. Basically, he goes on. He's influenced by the Hassan industrial complex, prior sort of putting forward your ideas are more important than you're making money off of it. So this is the clip, very end.
And now you're making it explicit.
Yeah.
Ethan Klein responds to this post on his Instagram story when he tweets out this continued clip with the caption, Ethan provides the rest of the clip in context for the Hassanabi Twitter drones that have been spreading this info.
I'll remove something is like if it's just a wholesale re-uploading of like an episode. And we used to have that big problem. We were on Twitch.
Mm-hmm.
If you're re-uploading just full VODs, then that you cannot do.
Mm-hmm.
That seems like important context that's being left out. Some memes, some people who are interested Let's get to this.
Ethan himself then replies to Dexerdonox on his Instagram by saying, I was never going to sue Hassan because I asked him to react to it. That's a presumed license. And anyway, his usage is obviously fair use. Actually, the best example of it. I specifically sued these three because they're malicious statements to act as a market substitute. Pretty obvious. Knowingly lying is, of course, part of their propaganda efforts. Matt tweets out, I'm normally not a fan of people being sued in revenge, but holy fuck, Denims, Frogan, and Casey Sean are so abhorrently terrible that it's going to be very entertaining.
The reason I'm putting this out here is to see there's both sides, a parody account. Mike the Bike, not Mike the Bike. Mike from BA actually sort of has a point here. I hate to inform people. Commentary weighs in. Don't know this guy.
Probably Hassan is bad for the space. I think Frogan gets like 200 viewers live. If it was Hassan suing small creators out of malice, people in the H3 camp would be losing their minds. Kinocopter replies, suffer small creators. Augie RFC says, I'm mostly worried about jokes or insults getting hard. I've watched people's stuff before and
don't worry. You can go with the fucking joke thing as long as you actually transform the content. And I haven't seen any of these women's coverage of it. It just seems rather bad from how it's described.
Made the joke of, haha, let's steal their viewers and watch it on my stream so many times. Junk Drawer Gaming replies to Augie by saying, this has the potential to set a bad legal precedent for React content in the future. 99% of the commentary space is React content. Dark Viper wanted to sue Chud for copyright and we all mocked him. How is this?
Yeah, why is 99% of the commentary space React content? I swear to God. I understand.
Any difference? Knights Kitten replies to Augie by saying, if you do React content ethically and within fair use, you will be fine. If you're for this threadbare pretense, Flo replies, they're literally on video saying, watch the nuke on my channel so Ethan doesn't get money from your views. How do you walk around without shame after saying such things? Beckett quotes Shmoo and says, the chatter around the Ethan lawsuit is why you can never take anyone interacting with online politics seriously. The second it's against someone they hate, they'll excuse or defend whatever. People seriously sweeping for the suit are completely cracked. Queeman.
I have no fucking clue where fucking Beckett falls on this. That seems weird. But you know what? He's not going to probably cover it, so I might as well put in that tweet.
Tweets out, Ethan Klein claims he would only sue for copyright infringement if the infringer met an incredibly high bar. To demonstrate this, he claims that he wanted to catch people reacting to an irresistible piece of prepared content. So why does his lawsuit against Denims cite the live stream before the nuke? Surely this is just about defending copyright. He also registered the stream with the Library of Congress, attaching this image highlighting a section of the case.
How's any of those elements actually relevant to any of this? I don't know. But let's see.
That stream. I mean, he announced the nuke ahead of time. No, you got to give up the whole legal commentary thing. You and JStalk fucking suck at it. And Queen.
That they seem like they do. They're also not professionals. And when they're in an argument where the legal aspect comes up, they'll switch it to a moral and ethics one. How nice. The Mod and Bailey approach to certain things. Clown nose on, clown nose off.
And replies, wrong. It's cited in the claim for relief. It's not simply demonstrating her intent. Attaching this image of the first claim for relief for direct copyright infringement against Denims, showing that TEI registered its copyrights to the Countdown episode and the nuke with the USCO, along with that they didn't grant any license, authorization, or consent for Denims to exploit the Countdown episode or the nuke in any manner. Rather, Denims' group viewing session of the Countdown episode and the nuke consisted in unauthorized reproduction, public performance, and derivative work of the Countdown episode and the nuke in violation of TEI's rights, as set forth in the 17 USC section 106. Refers to the long-form nature of it to suggest it's the perfect bait. Not to say it's only morally wrong to violate fair use on a prepared video. The Surf tweets out, Ethan Klein of just a few years ago would be completely disgusted with the Ethan Klein of today, suing the multiple women critical of him who have...
Do not blame me for that, okay?
Smaller audiences, so he can try and get away with bankrupting them in the process. Does he not realize his original content nuke is loaded with other people's content that he's...
I didn't vote for Trump, okay? I did not vote for Trump. I'm an impartial person who tries to stay in the middle, but I have hot takes on what's out there.
To, that he depends on fair use protection to make a claim in the first place that he transformed their content and owns the new product as original IP. William Matt replies, bro, just say you don't understand fair use and stay out of the conversation. And Nicholas Diorio says, this tweet from him that you're responding to is actually so embarrassing because he's like a content creator. This is literally the bare minimum knowledge he should possess. Sandy Balls replies to Willie by saying, does fair use include when the original publisher admits he set up a trap to sue creators? And Willie says, Lomafau, the trap is knowing that these people don't abide by fair use laws.
That seems about right. This Tectone stuff seems fucking retarded as all hell. Okay. Did I say that? Not just stupid. Just sort of weighing in, trying to get on it. Obviously, he knows he can't literally get on it because of how it was up. Well, maybe he doesn't. Who the fuck knows? We have Gamma. All these heavy hitters of commentary, Gamma. Oh, God. This stuff. Okay. I think that's enough. Yep. We can just keep going around and around. Switching off to something else. That's enough of a warm-up for that. That's a shit show around Hassan and Ethan Klein. The world might be going to hell, and this is what we are working with now. So that is that. This is this. You tell me what you want, I'll tell you what you get. You get a little bit more of this. I went over the sort of Aqueman weird reading of Willie Mack's first video on Destiny. And yeah, it seems like a lot of the Aqueman's arguments seem to hinge on. Yeah, I already said that already. I brought it up in my video. There's only one comment that didn't directly fight back against him in the commentary when he interrogated Willie Mack. So, and I have a little bit about the look the other way comment from Tommy C that Queeman tried to take in isolation and get me to look up the Google definition to get the O there. Nice. Believed, but in pertaining to that, the look the other way might not make sense, so I'll go real quick. Look the other way, it really was connected to suddenly I get a donation, be entertaining me be a sex pest. I'm reading wrong right now. I'm going to give them some concessions if they're watching this. I have to wonder if this is a Freudian slip related to the fact Mama Max tried to frame Tommy C as a pedo because Tommy criticized him. And the whole green M&M's crap was sort of like, what is it called? Transference. You know, Tommy and Nick during this whole thing, the whole green M&M's thing was running cover for that crap there. I'm sure there's some background stuff that no one wants to speculate on, okay? And that brings up not a very good point, but a good enough point, because I will be getting to quite a few things. Internet anarchists. Let me go over a little bit of the stupid stuff here. I need to find the right particular thing, and I might not be able to do that. So let's just go Tommy. Good old Tommy's channel. Is this the one I want? Yeah, probably here. Going over the interview in the end of the day. We'll do this real quick before getting a little bit more into the Twink shit. So got some timestamps here. I caught some of Aiden's coverage of Hellbent sort of thing. So I didn't think very highly of that. It seemed a little autistic to me. So this is where I'm going to jump in on this particular matter here.
Or audio proof or video proof. But if you do this enough, I don't trust. I mean, you have to use common sense eventually.
I'm not here to debate you out of your feelings, but I'm also not going to agree with them.
You don't have to. Fair enough. Mm-hmm. I'll warn you. I'll warn you the same way you warn Nick. You hang around those guys, something's gonna ask you something.
Yeah, blah blah blah.
And it's not gonna
divide. Maybe Tommy's right. Maybe he's not.
I do wonder out loud, and I have every right to say that.
I'm also surprised how well Lumpy Willie conducted himself here. I still think he's a retard who will say whatever he wants, but not that bad here.
You do know that, right? Or do you not know that?
What? Oh, I'm not aware, but I haven't accused him of colluding with.
Okay, no,
I do wonder out loud, and I have every right to say that.
Yeah, you are making accusations.
I'm not saying it's true though. I'm saying I wonder if
that doesn't matter.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. If I sit there and say yes, it does, because one's saying this happened, and the other one's saying I'm suspicious of this happening.
Okay, that is crazy. No,
it's crazy to do any speculating at all, but you're going to fucking do mind read. Other people are going to do mind read and other fucking mental gymnastics. Yeah, I agree. putting out your speculation as a big shot commentator might actually be relevant, except for, sorry, Tommy's sort of a joke, okay? He's allowed to speculate. He's putting it in the area of speculation. He wants to know, okay? There's good reason for him to speculate on this because Chud and President Sunday have a past together. It's fucking fraught with a whole bunch of drama and a bunch of fighting between them, with especially with Mr. Girl. So what can I do about that?
You're broadly implying. You were broadly implying.
I have to. No, I am implying it. There's no way, but I have no idea if it happened or not. I have no idea if it happened or not. It would not shock me.
Okay. It wouldn't shock you, but if you actually looked into the situation, you would know that that would be not possible because Chud was not on the internet when that happened. Chud was away with his kids on vacation.
You have a fucking phone? I talked to Nick the whole time when I was in Spain when I found out about the boat.
Yeah, this is a stupid sort of thing. I don't even know. There's just so much stupidity in here. But again, that man did better than I thought he would.
How is that? How is saying coming out? But Beckett knew also 4 days prior to that because they both made their videos at the exact same time.
Chud knew it was coming out, and I don't know the timeline. In fairness to you, he said Chud knew about it. Now he did not. He explicitly said, "I don't know if he knew the context of it. I knew the context of it, which is why I called Nick." So yeah, I got to be honest with you. I mean, you're saying this stuff. This is the first time I'm hearing this Kiwi Farms. You're saying he knows all stuff. They know the tidal wave's coming. I mean, Beckett told me like one of the reasons he contacted Nick is because he knew how your side of the community would react to it. It's not really hard to believe that Chud, or fucking Chud's community, or the people that call it the anti-TGGs, call it whatever you want. I mean, we don't have to get fucking split hairs here over the committee. Let's make it really simple, really practical. The people that would be calling Tom Sweeper, his enemies, giving them ammo.
How is that? How is saying, "Oh, you're a sweet"? I feel like you're putting way too much emphasis on that word because it's really not that big of a deal. Obviously,
you think so? You think so? I don't.
Yeah, I love this. Oh, why are you so caring about the term sweeper? Everyone sweeps. That's a standard that they're trying to make. Oh, it's not that bad, but you admit to actually being a sweeper. Yeah, it'll give them ammo. Okay, you don't admit to that stuff, especially when it's not your intent. Okay, like if it seems like I'm sweeping for this particular person, sorry, it's not the case. You make your argument, and I can clarify a little bit more on that particular thing there.
I don't. I think they all agreed to it. They all agreed to it, and then he cuts it on Tom. And then Tom never shows up again.
Oh.
I guess we both have dementia. Huh?
I don't.
I can believe Tom has dementia. Okay. He might be a young man, but something's taking fucking the energy zapping out of him. Maybe it's some woman or guy. It's like, now let me not speculate on that. It's not good to do about these big commentary channels. We can't speculate even if it's in comical terms.
I'm just at a loss for words. I'm gonna be real. This is just crazy. I'm pretty sure Tom just didn't enjoy streaming because he just didn't have the time for it. I'm pretty
yeah, he's pretty sure of this.
Pretty sure he came out and said that.
Yeah.
He said that we have to go. His word is law. No speculation, no reading between the lines. It's fucking amazing to me how literal. But when they're doing the speculating, not necessarily Lumpy Willie here, but anyone wants to edge in on it, it turns into just a joke. I would rather have speculation, no matter joke form or not, at least be accepted, owned, instead of it's just humor, guys.
He came out and said he just didn't have time to stream.
I came out because I don't know. I'm sure he's going to come out. I'm coming out because I think fucking Chud Logic is a complete fucking snake. Peace, bitches. Then he would have got what I got. Are you kidding me? He's not an idiot. I mean, come on. Look what's happened in a couple days. Let's not pretend that didn't happen.
Well, maybe he is, or at least he'll use the "I'm a retard" pass.
Anybody does that,
and that's
this is
about
what happened.
As much as I want to.
You think I didn't know what was going to happen?
I'll go a little bit more.
I'm sorry. I'm just.
You're lost for words for what? For what? Like,
I just don't understand. I just don't understand what you're trying to say. I just don't understand.
Are you gaslighting me? Because he wouldn't come out.
No,
he is gaslighting.
Tom is not going to come out and throw Chud on the bus. It's not fucking good money. It's not good business. Do you understand that? Do you understand what I just said?
Okay, so if he's not going to throw if he's not going to throw Chet under the bus, why wouldn't he just throw Destiny under the bus?
But I'm pretty sure he did. I mean, I've sent video that he said he was moving away from them, and I think when he interviewed,
well, Tommy's definitely being paranoid, but just because you're paranoid doesn't mean you're wrong. At the end of the day, sort of my point about grifters. Just because someone's a grifter doesn't make their opinion invalid. But you know what? Motivation, intent. You need to be pure and care about something. No, that's a standard. That the purity testing of tribalistic groups at the end of the day. You go with that, you go with the tribalistic mindset. But yeah, as I said, my crazy schizo sort of thing for them saying Tommy C is crazy. I have a little bit of a theory here. Don't against Tommy, of course. Said it already. Is this a Freudian slip that sort of looked the other way? He felt in this sort of theory of mine, because I'm not going to get into the Xylee stuff. She has a good timeline, at least, of events. Mama Max showed up on, what was it? Half Baked. Nick tried to get him to do some things, but he just failed. Mama Max won them all at the end of the day. So that was interesting. And there's also the passing of, this is during a time where, Tommy has this whole sort of section. And maybe I should put this up here. Not going to go over it. But if you look at Tommy's channel, he has a dedication as his video for, fucking hell, I'm just going to look it up. Not going to put it on screen. Don't use it against him or me. It's fucking Real Talk, I believe. And I'm on the wrong one. Real Talk. Real Talk. The rapping guy died in this time period. Or at least it was revealed that he died. So probably some issues around this. If you want to make an argument that he's out of his mind, definitely for the green M&M's part, that makes sense. Why would he be out of his mind right now, though? That's all I want to say. All I want to say. Why is he out of his mind now? What happened? Queeman trolling him? Well, not even Queeman directly. The community around Queeman trolled him. Some sort of gay op bullshit. And I could go deeper into this, but I don't fucking want to. Funny enough, oh yeah, I have in this sort of a prepared thing. I'm still blocked by Xylee. Funny enough, it's over something about Destiny, if I remember correctly. I got blocked 2 years ago, unfollowed. She's like, fuck you, bitch. You unfollowed me after I spurred out on you. And I'm like, okay. Write her off from that, at least on Twitter. Does it, just because she's a Spurg, doesn't mean that I couldn't go over her information. It just seems a little bit stupid at the end of the day. Now I have to fucking ask, does anyone need me to explain Spurg content to anyone? Doc in the radio, the Spurgy Awards. I think it's, let me just put a little bit of Mike theme song here, just to make sure. Now, the end is near, it is and so her content. In case anyone wants to know about Spurg content, it still happens. This is how a lot of the motherfuckers act, though. And this is distracting the hell out of me. But you understand what I'm saying with this at the end of the day. Spurg content. This is what Queeman and a lot of people sort of deal with. And Augie, from what I know, I wasn't a big Augie follower or even any of these guys. I was more a follower of Chad. This is why this is so weird. What got me back into was Mama Max territory. So let me pause this shit up and get into it. So, So the networking, it actually sort of correlates with the fucking Mama Max points that I brought up earlier. What happened to all those crazy Mama Max fans who suddenly found themselves turning against him? Where did they go? it's sort of a goes along with this at the end of the day. Oh, there's plenty of networking things, but I'm going to focus on the audiences that are pretty much in commentary. So where would have they gone? Lyrics, Chud. Probably a lot of them went into the Twitch brawl scene with like a few Queeman people. Hell, I know there's a few people like Abby Blackbird who ended up sort of on the Chud Queeman crew out there. So that is the crew, and that's how those ships fell. The people out there really went way off. And where did they go? There's some theories out there when I was looking into the Himpleton stuff, at least, that they went to various communities. There's a little bit of Angry Slug in there. They probably gravitated. Even from my own more expertise position, I say that with a grain of salt. With the GG2 people, Smash JT and all of that, which I managed to slip in there. So, I got something here. And I will come back. And there's, just to be clear, I did the sort of rules for radicals. I did the rules for radicals. Not to say Queeman does it alone, and that's not that it's even a conscious decision by him. That people fall into that sort of trap at the end of the day. So let's just give it away, okay? To get back into it, this sort of thing, and it relates to the React content also, which I find interesting of an overlap. Cut this out. A little bit of Queeman coverage of Smash of the JT. I again gonna speed run this particular bitch, so bear with me for a bit. There's gonna be a point to this all. Let's get into it a bit. Go. Okay. Let me get some context for this. We do not know. Smash is this is very fucking meta. Okay. Smash is watching Kino Casino for the Razor Fist accusations. So this is part of Smash's video here. Lehman? Yes, true. Okay, what I really wanted to point out by this, we get no commentary. We have the commentary from these two. Queeman really doesn't weigh in very much here at all. When does he finally weigh in? Is there a way to really tell about this? The reason I'm also doing this is at the end of the day, I was covering this. Well, I wasn't covering this. I was watching someone covering this and had my opinions on this, even though I didn't make any really content on this. So I have a fully formed opinion when I compare it to Queeman's expert opinion, where, yeah, he just really barely reacted to Smash JT's video. He's overplaying it. Razorfist is overplaying the shit, and I'm surprised he hasn't done anything since then. Oh, God. Okay. I can't take this. I can't take this. Okay. This stellar commentary from Queen here. Silence is golden, I guess. What the fuck is this? This is worse than me. See, you know what research is, Queen? Oh, of course not. Oh, God. Okay. Who's who talking to? I don't know what you're even asking at the end of the day. And I fucked up. I fucked up big. I didn't switch the screen. And I've been going on.
2 after that, or would you say that was like for a year or more?
Definitely a year or more. She was there for a while.
Right.
Yep.
Ladyfist was a Caucasian female.
Didn't do the check.
Very, very pale woman.
Gonna have to
Even after Taryn Gale settled into the co-host role, Ladyfist remained a fixture of arcade live streams in the years that followed, albeit only in the background. In fact, when I recorded a recreation of the Shadow radio drama entitled The Immortal Murderer, cast in the role of Margot Lane, as the credits will confirm, and your own ears will as well, was none other than Ladyfist.
No, take it easy, Commissioner.
Would you say
this is what I get for focusing so much on my second screen instead of what I'm appearing here?
She was still in the picture for like only a month or two after that, or would you say that was like for a year or more?
Definitely a year or more. She was there for a while.
Right.
Ladyfist was a Caucasian female, very, very pale woman.
Even after Taryn Gale settled into the co-host role, Ladyfist remained a fixture of arcade live streams in the years that followed, albeit only in the background. In fact, when I recorded a recreation...
Having a female version of using your GF is so fucking epic. Probably the coolest thing you can do as a man online. Okay, dude. Dude, it's so crazy. That era of YouTube is just so crazy.
Of the Shadow radio drama.
Yeah. Okay. Let's get back into the other crap. I don't know why I took that sort of tangent there. At the end of the day, fucking hell. Yeah, I'm sort of playing something out until it comes down. So might as well play this
entitled The Immortal Murderer, cast in the role of Margot Lane, as the credits will confirm, and your own ears will as well, was none other than Ladyfist.
No, take it easy, Commissioner.
It's easy for you to sit there smirking, Cranston.
He's not smirking, Commissioner.
My apologies, Miss Lane. I ought to have said leering.
That episode was uploaded on Halloween, October 31st, 2016. Over a year after every imbecilic e-drama dick holster falsely alleges I was dating the accuser. And before anyone argues, well, you're clearly keeping the relationship a secret from your public girlfriend. Okay, that almost makes sense. Until you remember that I wasn't keeping Ladyfist at all private from the accused. So why, in every defamatory screenshot, in every
Wait, no, that doesn't mean that you weren't keeping her a secret. That doesn't follow. That doesn't prove anything.
Infused video in existence in the long litany of defamatory and false allegations is...
This was a bad idea to sort of take this sort of pivot here. I'm just trying to sort of make a sort of overline thing where I fucked up with my stupidity. Lovely. As for the end of the day, President's Sunday is a little out there. There's a lot of coverage I did at the end of the day. So it's really hard to say. So I had this whole section about 12 rules for radicals that I think I'll pull up, which is interesting to go into and will be a good delaying tactic for me.
Not once he claimed that I publicly dated another woman while I was supposed to be with the accuser on Razorfist Arcane live streams that thousands of people watched. Seems to me that would be item number 1 on the list of douchey things I'd done if even one of these accusations were accurate. There goes the timeline. There goes the accusations along with it, all after 30 seconds of research on a public playlist. 30 seconds of research that Gash JT and the drama parasites on the Cringe Casino couldn't be bothered to do before obliterating the last waning rivulets of their remaining credibility by committing libel and ending their own careers. And all before I dropped a single private receipt of which I have many, motherfucker. But I know what you're saying. I don't believe Terrangel. After all, he's Razor's buddy. He's biased. Maybe he hallucinates Latinas into white chicks in his spare time. Maybe he's misremembering her sitting by his side for over 3 damn years. Why? Without seeing her in order to know she isn't the accuser. What we need is a vocal analysis. And
No, that's not. No, we need you to show us when the relationship with this other girl started. That's what.
From
That's the only thing you need to show.
Agree. So first,
it's just like fucking Queeman just jumps on allegations at the end of the day. It seems like, no, I know I'm not muted. So try again, I try hard. So rules for radicals. Sargon did a video on this that I would recommend. It's not, people misunderstand. It's not a political text. It can be used by either side at the end of the day. And yep, I have the right thing up on stream. So as a delaying tactic, rule 1 is one of the ones that I'm not even quite sure. I mean, this is a Cliff's Notes version. Power is not only what you have, what the enemy thinks you have. Power is derived, blah, blah, blah. Never go outside the expertise of your people. Resort in confusion, fear, and retreat. So all of these are good things to look for in a certain person when they rhetorical thing. Gas JT is one of the sort of people who probably use a similar playbook to this at the end of the day. And as for related matters, yeah, satirical sort of comedy that's sort of put out is sort of lame at the end of the day. And yeah, I'm still sort of gassing it up because I should have more videos to play. They keep me on track. I know the Destiny crap is needed for context. I have this whole section about a networking model that a lot of people utilize. It goes into the sort of branching paths out there. So the branching paths, I'm calling this term Piper Hood effect, because you have the leaders to sort of promote various other channels, and you get rewarded if you what's the term? Oh, use the talking points of a certain community at the end of the day. And I find it very interesting overall. There's some sort of attack. I also know there were some attacks at internet anarchists, and I have his video on here. It's like people forget about some of the stuff that happened in commentaries past. I can see my thing going out. I know I fucked up. Yeah, mic check. I can hear my own annoying voice. So thank you for the trolling, man. Thank you so much for the trolling. I feel so loved by the trolls who are trying to fuck with me. It's beautiful stuff. Beautiful stuff at the end of the day. And into the Illuminati, it's like no one remembers the sort of, and why the hell did it do that? Internet art anarchists. Oh, okay. I keep being stupid there. I am checking this, making sure it is correctly on screen. I know people came after internet anarchists in a certain Discord I was in, Ryzen, who did a little bit of anti-woke YouTuber stuff because he spoke up for Think Before You Sleep.
Managed to destroy their reputation as thoroughly or as publicly as Blair, aka Illuminati. She used every shady and unethical tactic in her arsenal to exert absolute control over both her employees and partners. From dishing out verbal and mental abuse to exploiting the legal system with fraudulent contracts and baseless lawsuits. However, it all blew up in her face, and she's now paying the price for being an unapologetic bully to everyone around her. And after nearly 2 years of her desperate attempts to play the victim, we've finally reached the end of Blair's self-destruction saga. But as you'll see later in the video, here's a super quick.
So this is internet anarchists. A lot of people made a lot of content about Illuminati. I even covered it with her attempts to grift on the leftist media. I don't know if it was a grift or if she has leftist views. It just seems like she a chameleon. She fit in wherever she needed to be at the end of the day. Another interesting thing that I find, just want to briefly mention.
Ever wonder what it would sound like if a greaseball politician and their right-hand man tried to face obvious facts and proven allegations of...
Someone sent me a DM to cover this guy or watch his videos, I guess. Not this particular video. Something on James Lindsay and the woke right. Okay. I find it very interesting. People who probably shouldn't be calling each other based ends up sort of basing a lot of stuff off of each other. And as for my particular video, it's really hard to say what I need to really expand on. There's many things I could expand on, but I sort of need feedback to know what is unclear about the video. There's a little bit of a satirical bite to that particular video on Queeman, so some things might be lost in translation. Probably is something I'm going to have to go through. I actually look through some other responses if they're of any value. As I said, well, I haven't said. It's more about, there's a, what is it called? Synthetic Man, not Synthetic Man, someone else. Chud, not Chud Logic. Smug Boy, okay. I'm getting all this stuff confused in my head. Smug Boy actually put one of my satirical pieces, and that was quite an interesting response. And trying to figure out what to actually get into. I think I should go to the related matter on this particular thing here, because I think that's the best route. Brianna Wu. See, that's one of the things I was with Queeman on, the Brianna Wu coverage, but also I was from the centrist community, Stitch and Adam, or however you want to say them, and the friends, the super centrist friends, and I've sort of getting into that community was, I don't know if it's a mistake, but definitely it fell apart from what it was back then after they brought on Wu and a Casperian. It got really weird, the softball to the other side. Yes, I am up late and I made some mistakes at the end of the day. But back to Beckett. Let me just focus on Beckett because that's the best way to highlight a certain networking point I want to bring out. I could have just went to his video, you know, promotion, beautiful stuff, beautiful bean footage. He sort of went to a certain place and, yeah, made a mistake by going to the link tree. Want to go to his channel, man? Cope and Seed was following them for a while. Hell, he's even streaming now. It's a secret stream. Am I a member for some reason? That's a good question. I already had some comments on that. It seems legit for now. There might be details being left out that is going to be very important. So Cope and Seed is an example of a channel that went a certain way and making sure it's on stream. So we had his whole little thing. Here's his Destiny video that got criticism. Still up, better, but not worse. So it's quite interesting here. Cope and Seed, Beckett, who gets brought up, but no one really gets into the sort of way. I don't know if he really shifted, because I followed a lot of this stuff out there. Westside Tyler stuff is something I thought was quite interesting. Sweeping for McClune a little bit here. I think he got a little bit of criticism for that. Janky, whoa, trying to go over that crap there. But yes, I have concerns that he's got a whole bunch of former CCC disgruntled people. You know, it's like taking people out tends to get you their audience at the end of the day. It seems like a barrel of crabs. Everyone's trying to get one up on everyone else in the commentary community. And they took a very interesting angle here. And there's the person who actually has the most credibility, I guess, here out of this group would be Akumu, because he's the one who broke a lot of this ACC stuff. And I followed it earlier on. The CCC people? No, ACC, Art Commentary Community. It's the art commentary community, the sort of community that gave rise to different people out there. Leo Convoy is still sort of making his rounds, so that is quite interesting to me that he's making his rounds, that he's still accepted as an authority. Somehow he always manages to pull through when it comes to this stuff. I find that a bit interesting. Nothing suspicious, but Peaches is gone. All that shit ended up. And I'm revisiting a couple of things, and especially this, because this is interesting. There's this particular person here who actually got into a beef with Noma's Yacht. Not that anyone currently seems to know who they are. They did something on Creep Show Art. Everyone did. Okay. This is like a commentary. So anyone who doesn't, let me actually get a decent video of Creep Show Art. Sorry, this is horrible. I wanted to bring this person up because even they covered it. And they sort of went away after that. But, good old Right Opinion, 2 years. The first video that went down with that, and I don't have anything good planned for that. All these are so long, I just sort of want to definitely find.
Hi, everyone.
Why are all these
I'm Emily.
streams so
If you're
long?
not familiar with who I am, I have been making.
I'm currently running on 2 hours of sleep.
Creepshow Art. A name and.
Why do I
I'm
keep
currently
doing
running on 2 hours.
Creepshow
really?
Art.
I hate you. I
A name and a
There, I
story that is
pressed play.
almost inspirational to
something
tell.
different.
A story.
I'm currently running on 2 hours of sleep.
Self-delete.
Thoughts, Rio, and I'm ready to fight.
Okay. It seems soon enough I recognize
Speak on
this
something that is
person
more
here.
speculative.
Good point. You're right. I should get back to the Queeman thing. I just don't have much for the Queeman within here. Sorry to disappoint at the end of the day. I could go over a couple of things like the Hassan stuff. Yeah, let's take that direction. Oh, I can't take that direction. It's just so hard to actually get the man to sort of cover sort of his ideas. There's a lot of stupid ideas within that. I'm just adding to the stupidity of it. Yeah, I should have organized this better. A brief history. So why reorient myself.
I will make that clear. I will discuss where there is solid evidence and where there is not, and I don't want video.
The reason why I bring up the Creepshow art is the sort of a gay opping and bullshit both her and Illuminati sort of pulled off was enough to get over the line to really run him out. When this has become like standard operating procedure, gay opping. I noticed that with the Himpleton server at the end of the day. Like some of the practices are really getting weird in commentary. That's because the Spurgs has sort of taken over the scene, it seems like, at least from a general perspective.
Regarding the situation that you stumbled upon. First off, I am sorry. Second off, the current cancellation of one Creepshow art started when the admins of a gossip forum called LolCow noticed suspicious activity from an account violating the site's rules. Given the behavior of the account, the admins suspected the account belonged to Creepshow art. And as they state they will do if you violate the rules, they revoked the account's anonymity. They traced the IP and cookies back to several locations that Creepshow has been known to live, and the device information matches multiple devices Shannon has been known to use. All signs pointed to this indeed being Creepshow. Certain information that further solidifies the account being Creepshow has not been released to the public, given that would essentially dox Shannon, but the admins say the information matches to antithesis to who she
this was bad.
Defending Creepshow and promoting.
Okay, that's really bad at the end of the day. And why the fuck should anyone care about any of that shit? Let me check some things. I'm not trying to really delay this, but this was poorly thought out. I thought someone would want to ask me to clarify some things, but I'm not seeing much about that. So, cope and see. So let me go into a hypothetical because that's fun. That's what I see done. You have a bigger streamer who has a reputation for being fair and funny. You have smaller orbiters who have a reputation for bad faith, but they're good attack dogs. They share a lot of spaces and opinions, but try not to let the actions affect each other and go unresponded to. So it's like a sword and shield method there. And it's sort of a sell sort of option there. And yeah, let me just pull this clip up and go with it. It's more familiar territory. It's screaming coverage, but with a Gunnergate flair to it. So let's just do that. So
I'm going to be covering Razor Fist today, a topic that I never really
Oh, is this the Razor Fist? I'm right back
as far as
here.
my personal connections to Razor Fist, I don't think I've ever even talked to him.
I don't know, and I don't care. Want to go back to the Leon jump scare because this coverage is something I'm more familiar with. Puts me on grounds where Queeman's not at. Nope, sorry.
W after
Like,
W with everything right now. What is
that was clickbait.
As soon as go ahead.
Oh, no. So you asked me a question. I was going to give you an answer. So relativism is
Let me watch this full segment.
During Game Day 1, I'm pretty sure they managed to.
Two birds, one stone.
Right.
$50 brand new, and on the launch week sale on Steam, it's $45 USD. Compare that to the $60 new games or $70 new games, or
I got it right.
games that are going to $80. I look at this game and I'm like, look at that. We have games that are coming out brand new that are not just respectful of the time of the player, but respectful of your purse or wallet when you go to purchase the game. And I don't know about you guys, but I feel like that should mean something. As of right now on the Steam chart.
Okay, I don't know why he's going through this so much.
Is this what's happening? Is there like a big divide right now between like anti-woke gaming people who are like there's like the Smash JT like pure Gamergator?
It's really weird. A lot of people are covering Smash JT, but someone like Queeman is sort of making him seem like the good guy here.
That wants to just drive out.
The 2 times he done coverage of it, he definitely seems to be propping up their side. Both sides are idiots, to be clear. in Queeman's view, but one
quote,
side
unquote, politics from
slightly
gaming.
better.
Then there's like the ethno-nationalist sect of like Gamergate types, and then there's like the Christian sect, which is like Melanie Mac. And they're like, I feel like the more
yeah, you would have to give me a reason why you could call in. I don't even know.
Full-throated, like evangelist for their beliefs, like the Christian types and the ethno-nationalist types. I thought they're collecting on one side, and the more like OG Gamergate, apolitical quote-unquote types are collecting on the other side right now. There's something happening here where I'm seeing more and more fighting between these two groups.
Okay.
Is he A-logging the fuck out of Alana Pierce? What is happening here? Okay.
Not
This might be a
worse for
Smash
me,
JT
I
catch-up
guess.
kind of day. All right, yeah. So here's some of the stuff about Expedition 33. All right, here's the Yorch stuff. Let's see this.
Demian
Yorch
quote
stuff.
tweeted Yorch and says, "Dared by fear. This is what I roll my eyes at."
By the way, Lumiere, I assume just based on.
Oh,
No, it's not.
God.
It's not French. It's not
Keeps
France.
going. Let's see who comes in chat.
Walk right into that one.
I'm kidding. That's my boss in French.
Play the game. You'll hear it said, buddy.
You
this
want to
is what I roll
defend
my
your
eyes at,
hero,
because people
Freeman.
will
Why
take
is he
someone
your
like
hero?
this that I'm convinced must be
What,
an agent
defend
of
him
the
from
government
what?
who's paid to look like a dumbass on purpose to make Gamergate look stupid, and they'll.
I'm just not understanding what you're defending him from, Lumpy Willie. Okay. What I sent at him wasn't that bad. Okay. Yeah. He's a bad faith actor who creaks into the cracks. There's a lot of people like that.
Think anyone who is pro GG is like this guy when it's just
Smash Freak is completely unbearable. No, we are on the human pug side today. Okay, we are on the human pug side.
And when are you against him, Queeman? That's a better question there.
So he's in a we're like this like dog fights, like back alley dog fights. You know, I've got the pug.
Yeah, I mean, maybe yours was a plant. He turned coat rather quickly against the what I call the God Gate section of this, but I'm more knowledgeable of this, so this is why was on my docket to cover
Up against, I don't know what this one is. Some fucked up little chihuahua. I might pit him pugs against chihuahuas right now in some back alley.
no.
I know, yeah, you're right. Pug against other pug. You know, they're pinning each other down and putting pressure on the throat, and then their eyes are popping out. Their throats, not the people on screen as such, might fall foul of YouTube TOS or even hate speech laws in my country. So I would never compare the genealogy of these men to that of a pug and say that their throats and eyes look like they're in danger of
woke. This is just embarrassing.
Okay.
I personally don't think this guy
stupid bit, but
represents Gamergate or
I get
anything
it
like that
better
at
than
all.
me.
This is just being stupid. Hell, this is embarrassing, man. Stop.
What is he doing in bad
This
faith?
is, by the way,
George is a gibbon monkey, not
if you were around for particular sections, you would know.
Okay.
you know, George lives for this because
Yeah,
this is the
it
bait,
is.
and he got a big one.
But Yorsh and JDA is even more fucking low-hanging fruit at the end of the day. Yes, yawn,
He
yawn,
has
yawn.
31,000
Go.
followers and quote tweets them. And like Cassie
Okay.
says, screen.
Give me something relevant. You could have put in a comment if you wanted to actually have something to talk about. Yeah, up to
Shot
the
it.
stupid
Don't-
stuff. It was stupid to do. Decide to go over this. I thought I might need to clarify some stuff. Like, does anyone know what? Obviously, people know what spurred content is. They just act like they don't. I swear.
Yep. Quote tweet because that's what he wants. Hey, Andy. Oh, go ahead.
Source
something to add
says
to that
that
first?
he might be onto something, and this is what I was gonna bring up earlier. We thanks to Elon Musk and the USAID drops, the information we got from the.
I actually have to be thankful to Queeman for this little bit. If I wasn't looking at the sort of stuff where my coverage of a GG2 sort of overlaps, I wouldn't know about this little thing of Leon Idol. Definitely 90%, 90% sure he's a grifter who's pretty much guiding. You should have saw him during the McDizzle sort of drama. He was sort of coaching him through it. Be like, no, it's everyone else in the wrong. You're completely in the right. Just a yes man who sucks up to bigger creators and goes after other creators. So, of course, Queeman would actually like that.
My God.
Audit things to that effect. we did find out USAID was involved in paying actors during Gamergate 1.
I will. I will. Give it some time. Give it some time.
I don't know that. I'm not going to say that Your Sports Gaming and JDA are on government payroll. I don't know. However,
so I'm pretty sure that wasn't during Gamergate 1. I don't think Feminist Frequency and It's Sarcasm were getting government money during Gamergate 1. I'm pretty sure they managed to get government money by petitioning off the back of that. And the reason that happened, like, dude, people are just they have such low IQ perspectives on the world. It's so annoying. All these guys just completely suck. Obviously, there is some element that they're running.
These guys just completely suck. There is some element, low IQ.
Up against now, by the way.
I can't really say much about this.
Way that they're rubbing up against right now, where there is like an extreme, almost ethno-nationalist bent to some gaming politics crossover circles. And that does lead to some radicalization. People do fall into like weird little fucking groups as a result of being in these places. So the government did see like various different.
I'll drop a link for people who want to come in and just yell at me after this section, okay? Because I've already met this fucking went off the rail.
Like fucking random bureaucrats that were responsible for assigning bits of money did see some value in essentially promoting feminism and ideas like this to try and moderate the gaming space and make it a bit less of a breeding ground for like totally socially isolated and radicalized guys. So that obviously there was some utility to that. Now they're always going to take it as like basically the government's trying to control what people like in video games, but that's literally not what it's about at all. It's so retarded to think that's what it's about. It's just about like having more exposure to different ideas and people, so that people are less likely to fall down.
Sweeper. It's both sides want to get the power of the culture war. We're just at a place where the right is gaining the prominence, so the counterculture is going to be left. Dirtbag left, it seems to be evolved from.
You know, what would you say? Not like rabbit holes, but I guess rabbit holes, like pipelines or whatever. It's that whole idea. It's to offset that sort of thing. You're not in dogmatic thinking constantly that the whole gaming arena isn't taken over by the most extreme right-wing voices. The potential is not impossible since we have already seen it once. Now, frankly,
I don't believe they are, only because JDA co-opted Comicsgate and they kicked him out. So now he's trying to find another grift.
He co-opted several movements. Comicsgate being one, but yeah.
So at this point,
that's true. That's true. You were doing the same with Amigo, Smash JT. You were trying to sort of go in until that became untenable for you. Sorry about the commentary that isn't related to Queepin here, but Smash, something I know.
I don't believe he's like a paid actor.
I thought the Feminist Frequency funding was just COVID loans. That might be true about the USAID stuff. I haven't looked into it at all, so I don't know what money they got from USAID. My understanding is there were a couple of different organizations that got money like that, and also I think they have received some kind of funding before. And yeah, not to mention they've literally been like Anita went to the fucking UN and spoke to some women's rights commission or some shit. Like there's been. It's not like there's any.
What is Queeman doing here today? Just say a lot of the shit that they tried to pass off about USAID is total bullshit. I have a video on that. Okay, again, Queeman's in my territory now. Okay, I could talk circles around him when it comes to smashing this crap.
It's not like there's no reason or no basis to believe.
Patience.
These feminist initiatives in gaming are approved of by the federal government in some way. I mean, there's even been like a little papers put out, I think. Wasn't there one within like last year or two that we read that all the Gamergators are freaking out about? Where basically there was like some federal like paper or report or something that was done.
Wouldn't know. You deleted everything a year ago. Well, almost a year ago. It seems like you wiped his category.
That basically said like, yeah, there is utility to putting
patience.
Left like
Why
more liberal political voices.
Am I not getting any patience?
Funding that because of the radicalization issue. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we read that on stream.
So
there is basis for
let me
things.
just skip to my.
Do you like Expedition 33? And if you voted yes, he's like, you're in the modern audience. It's not really retarded.
Modern audience does exist, and you're part. Look, he wants more.
This is so funny to me. Okay.
But even on paper, you can like without putting.
Okay.
Does not accept an objective view of reality.
Yeah, I find this interesting from Leon here and how it reacts. Playing in full for this, then I'll put in the.
The fact of the matter is,
I
link
don't think
so
Endymion
people
is
could come
irrelevant.
on.
In fact, I think that
Okay.
Endymion is the opposite, and I think that he leans too hard into not
Like you
accepting
can actually
relevantism.
debate well.
It-
I
it-
need a
is
subject matter to
projection from
debate.
yours.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly, correct.
Bring me one, please.
As soon as a game gets popular,
related
you
to some of
guys
this
are too
crap out
afraid
there.
These guys might have 100 IQ collectively.
about the wokeness because you're not conservatives. You still, you still have not told anyone what's woke about this.
Oh God.
What is woke?
Well,
Because
he
there's
also
black
builds
people in it?
conservatism up as if conservatism is a
Here.
bastion of purity.
Here's the main point I wanted to bring up. Anyone who's actually familiar with the Libertarian Party, this guy in cap, Libertarian, I think it's
Well,
called.
guess what? Look, I don't want to upset anybody in the audience, whatnot, but I'll say it. I won't speak for Smash. It's just me. I'm
Smith?
not a conservative. I'm also not a liberal. I'm an anarchist. But I do remember.
Wait, is an anarchist? What? What?
Because I'm old enough to remember and when it was around during those times. I remember 9/11. I remember the Bush regime. I remember the illegal wars under conservatism. I remember the weapons of mass destruction hoax and Dick Cheney running the government. Let's not pretend that conservatism is inherently moral or correct. There's corrupt no matter what side of the aisle you go to. And touting on about conservatism as if it's the objectively correct way is absolutely bananas.
No, this guy's awesome, actually. No, I'm on this guy's team.
Conservatism on paper is really objectively correct.
There's a bit more I want
Communism
to
on
get
paper is
into.
great as well, but it doesn't work in the real world.
Original script, I had a couple of things out here. Like, this is very interesting
Because
here.
that's not how humans.
Where this
Humans can never
leads
do
to.
communism. Just like humans.
Smash JT and Leon sort of got
I hate
true
Queeman to go look up Hypno. And yeah, his channel is
like
hard to find.
communism on paper sounds awesome.
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. Pointless commentary. from
Sounds really
Queeman.
good. Doesn't work. Right.
And I am going
calculation problem thing.
boring. Oh, come
So
on.
yeah, I'm afraid I just hate that. Oh, communism sounds great on paper. It's just an annoying like, truism.
To do with gaming and escapism.
It just
in these
annoys
fictional
Queeman.
worlds.
Yep.
Come
Nemian
on,
says,
come on.
you're too deep in your own to listen to anyone else's opinion, and it's sad based.
The people
All you've
you
done
hate
is
are
ruin
fighting.
the image
All
of
the
Gamergate.
people you hate
You
are
don't stand for
fighting.
it. You're just
I
making
find
things
it
worse
completely
every time you
sad
tweet. Sad.
that they create their own false dichotomy by throwing JDA and all these other religious losers, 90 religious conservatives under the bus. They look more moderate, but Smash JD is apolitical. Surprise, surprise.
Here's what holy shit. This guy just wrote a
You were
book.
literally lumped in like those homo ass
Here.
the serfs that communist YouTube channel
Yep,
lumped you
virtue
in with your source
signaling.
games in a tweet earlier. Now, to be fair, I went
Serfs
to the comments,
is the
and the
worst.
majority of people are roasting them, so that's great to know. But the fact of the matter is, they
Anyone remembers the Surf sort of white knighting for Illuminati? Probably not.
still
Probably
did it.
not.
The serfs don't see you and your source games as any different from one another. When
Well,
you cannot
let's
be
see
further from the
what you
truth,
got,
considering
Willie.
we are on the stream right now roasting.
I'm
them.
just
But the
waiting in a
opposition,
bit.
People that have these hundreds of thousands of followers and get these articles written about them and whatever it may be, look at you and yours as if you're the same, or you and JDA
Just
as
waiting
if
for
the
this
same, or Hypno
one.
and Melanie Mac as if the same. It doesn't
The Queeman isn't picking up on this. No commentary for this. I mean, there's just a lack of this. Okay. But maybe because he's unfamiliar with this.
matter. If this is not called out, people like
Who's
yourself.
the Hypno guy? I don't know anything about.
Here's the part I want to.
I've seen the Hypno guy show up on my. What's his name again, dude? I can't even find it.
Hypnotic. Look up Hypnotic Gaming Queeman.
So
He
things
has
this guy
a
gets
lot of
recommended to me all the
crappy
time.
content.
Has he done content about this game?
He does a lot of content about a lot of things.
Oh, he's actually on board with this game. He's like, fuck Squeenix. Based. I mean,
They-
yeah, fuck Squeenix for a long
They low key defended these, low key promoting these, and I'll put this out. Okay. At the end of the day, you're right. I wanted to get through that because that's one of the things. There's many things. Try to use your real name and not some funky ones because I gotta let people go up. So yeah, give me something to work with because there's many things I could go over within here. Yeah, that link will get you on and I can approve of you. It's a little bit different than Discord. Maybe I should get OBS downloaded. Wouldn't have such the strange things. But with Queeman, the related matters, the Hassan coverage still amazes me. We have Tiamon. Okay. Someone I know. Okay.
safe.
Not a lumpy Willy. What are
I'm
you
sure
thinking
your
of the
buddy will pop
commentary community crap? Yes,
God.
you can. The link is in there. Did the link disappear? Okay, we got a lumpy
No.
Willy. You want to defend your precious queenman, lumpy
Hello?
Willy, correct?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear
Hi.
me? You might need to play
I heard
with
you
the
wanted to
sub.
talk to me.
No, I think you wanted to defend your
No.
hero queenman, if I read
I've been
right.
seeing in chat. You've just been like talking about me.
Yeah,
so
they're
I just wanted to see what
gaslighting.
was up. just wanted to
Oh,
see
I
what's up.
brought up that you didn't seem so psychotic when you went on Tommy's stream. Tommy C's stream.
Tommy?
Tommy C, yes.
Tommy C. I don't recall. Okay. So what did you want me to talk to me about? Queeman? Sounds like.
No, Chiefs, you're the one who has to come on here. Are you becoming senile?
Well, now that I'm here, Vincent. So what's
Yes.
with all this lolly posting in your shorts? Just a little curious about
What lolly posting? One
Well-
shorts for bait a few years ago.
that. For
That
bae.
explains it.
For
Yes.
bae. Yeah. So we're posting lolly, kids being like sexually assaulted for bae.
No, they are not being sexually assaulted. Did you watch the clip? Here.
No,
actually-
I'm not.
let's actually
I'm,
play.
I'm not watching child porn. Actually, I'm good.
It's not child porn. It's a fucking anime. What sort of delusional
Whoa,
loser
dude.
are you to call
What?
fucking just anime? That's hell. You can pick it up at the fucking library. I watched the series from the library.
But they have
originally.
child porn at a library.
No,
There's
they
no way.
don't. Okay, are you gonna just keep gaslighting?
No, I'm serious. Okay. Here.
You're just
Let's
delusional.
watch it
You're
together.
delusional,
No,
man.
let's watch it together.
You're
because
smoking
I don't.
crack.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
I
No, I don't believe you.
I have a
Okay,
question.
you
Can
you
I
don't
say
believe
something?
anyone. I could literally play
Wait. Okay.
the fucking.
Wait.
Can I ask? Do you consider
Yeah, please.
Astro Boy, Lolicon, or Shadowcon, sir?
Thank you, dear
No,
Mom.
because they are not sexually depicted. All the stuff that he has on here is like very sexually depicted, and it's awful and
Okay.
terrible.
Okay. Yeah. Hide. Keep hiding. It
what
totally-
about-
How is that hiding?
Oh.
How is that hiding? Astro Boy is like awesome.
What about
Oh, well,
He's
Astro
sexually
Boy is
depicted like
awesome.
sexually
What about
depicted
Made in the
children.
Abyss? What about Made in the
Okay.
Abyss?
I'm not a pedophile. I don't watch that shit.
Are you sure? I think there's some comments about you. Yeah, maybe I misheard. Maybe I misread at the end of the day.
Oh,
but...
so we're just slandering. now. Okay.
no, I'm
Vincent,
pretty
Vincent,
sure
Vincent.
I saw comments.
Vincent.
Okay.
Okay, Vincent.
Have you
Vincent.
seen
Let's.
comments?
No, I haven't
Mm.
actually. Vincent, let's pull up some of your shorts. And let's.
Yeah.
Let's take a look
sure.
together. Let's take a look together.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe I'm incorrect. Maybe I'm like totally crazy schizophrenic, but.
Oh, you are. You
Yeah.
are. Here's one of my shorts.
Whoa,
okay?
dude.
Not that one. Oh, not that
Seems to be
one.
three
Not that one.
Dude. Oh, not that one. Why don't you want to see those?
Over like
Ah,
people
here.
that watch
Hey,
Lolicon. I don't know who the
Here,
fuck
just
cares?
you have this, like,
Lolicon in the
Bro.
two P's.
Who cares? I think
I
I've said this before,
definitely thought
and
it
now
was
that we've
funny
learned
at
that
the
projection
time.
is real, because it
The
obviously
Lolly
is.
Wars.
I think the most likely place to find pedophiles are the
Delusional
people that are online
on both
constantly
sides of it.
So let's
that
look at the ones that you
obsess
skipped
over,
over.
like,
How about that?
people that
How about
watch
that?
Lo-
Let's look at the ones you skipped over.
Topper, that
Which ones I skipped over?
Well, you
People that
skipped over a
obsess
bunch of them. You
over-
said, not that one.
Yes, this one.
Seems to be
This
three.
one definitely isn't it. You want
Seems
the
to be
ones that
three
people
things
keep on. Let's go to the
Well,
one
no.
that actually
This one
has
is like
it
also
as
pretty
tag.
bad. No, the
Over,
one
like-
that you just skipped is also terrible.
Good. I'm glad it's really bad.
Yeah.
People that
That's
obsess.
clearly like a teenager, dude. Really good.
Oh, a teenager.
Topper, that's the fakest shit
in
I've
a-
ever seen. How would
It's a
People that
teenager.
obsess.
Okay, we got Evangelion, Angel Beats. This one's a little bit lewd, I agree. Okay, Evangelion.
Dude.
Got this from a clip thing.
People that obsess.
I have a whole
People that-
video on that. Why don't we
Topper,
go to
that's
the one that you keep trying to say is tagged? I
You have
see
a
people
whole
tagged.
video on sexually depicted children.
What's sexually depicted? This one, Rama 1/2. I know it's so horrible.
Around here. I'm not talking about that
Rama
one.
1/2 is so sexually depicted. I'm trying to get to the one that I hear that was bait. No, I need to. Not that one. This is from the same series, okay? It's called When They Cry. Ah, here's... No, it's not the lolly one. Weird. I know I made one of these as lolly bait. Not that one, not that one.
So we're using bait now.
Yep, I want to see.
I don't want to.
That's why I use the tag. Ah, here's the one. Okay. This is the one that I hear is tagged lolly. Yeah, I did it. Let's see. What's sexually depicted?
Well, all of it is just like I didn't watch it because obviously like it just looks like a child. It's like terrible. No, because when I see like a child being sexually depicted in a thumbnail, I usually don't think, oh, I'm gonna click on that. Actually, no.
Okay. Do you want to go back to defending your hero? Okay.
You're just wait. Hold up. Actually, really quickly. So obviously, today there was some like major stuff developing in the Middle East.
Yep.
But I don't think you have the discussion here, though. But
well, I just
I want to hear his point. Why he brings it up. I want to hear why he's bringing it up still.
Well, I just wanted to get your opinion, Vincent. Like, what are your thoughts? What do you think the like future ramifications for, in geopolitical? What do you think the ramifications of?
I don't fucking know. I don't do geopolitical fucking. Takes,
okay. In like, how do you feel about it? Let's just go like that.
Who the fuck cares how I feel about geopolitical?
I think it's really important actually because it lays out some of your like fundamental morals.
My morals is what can be verified to be factually true at the end of the day.
Okay. That's actually I actually really like that answer because, as you know, Israel's been claiming that Iran has developed a nuclear bomb, right? Or they were like this close to developing a nuclear bomb.
Yeah,
the U.S. intelligence has
attacked.
Yes, and U.S. intelligence has come out and said that there is no actionable proof that they were even close to developing a nuclear weapon. What are your thoughts on that?
Verify the actual intelligence, where it's coming from.
Well, it's U.S. intelligence. It's coming from the U.S. intelligence.
U.S. intelligence, okay.
Maybe I can help him out here. It's not that our intelligence hasn't confirmed it 100%, by the way, because if you go back I forget what year it was about this point. Like you can go back to about the Bush era when he was about the war on terror. They at one point claimed. So the idea, right, is
okay. I love you trying to help me out.
They actually said at one point, about 2010 or so, still during the Bush era, they had enough because they actually got the advanced reactors to do it. Now, after a couple of years, we did give the virus to the Israelis that blew up some centrifuges. Now, I will say this. The funny part about a lot of the intelligence and being close, we've been monitoring facilities they have made. Nothing good goes on in a facility that has been buried about a mile deep with ventilation. Just telling you. So then they had only about one or two of these in big and deep. We're like, well, these are military facilities back then. Now Iran had like 6 of them or more of them that we know of publicly. So the bombings that occurred today were 3 bigger facilities that we knew were being developed, or the main facilities, not that the Israelis bombed in the first place. So, and the problem is why the Israelis acted in the first place is because regardless of Iranians basically were saying they have enough for fissionable nuclear, not energy fission.
Nuclear. So basically what you're saying is they had the material, they were trying to get to the point where they could make nuclear bombs, right? I'm trying to.
That's part of it, and then if you go back to Netanyahu's speech at the UN, where he warned, I think it was a year or so ago, this is on how much you need in the final phase to do the bomb.
Okay.
Israel then said they would attack them about 3 or 4 months ago or at the start of the year if they were getting close. Then somehow the Iranians claimed they had the ability to create them, and Israeli intelligence basically confirmed to them, whether you think it or not.
Okay,
they had
Lumpy
enough to do
Willie.
9.
Give Lumpy Willie a second.
What?
What do you think about that? Okay, you want to hear him?
wanted
You
to
want to
finish
hear
this
him?
talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to hear him out. I want to hear him out.
Okay.
So
Fair enough.
I'm just going to say this. So they had in record about, according to either intelligence, and we weren't going to add, that they have enough. We do not know how much fissionable they have now for a full bomb, because it's unlike North Korea. Because North Korea had to cease their testing, their nuclear testing, because they were testing in a mine. And about a year or so ago, they detonated what we think was a hydrogen bomb that caused about a 5-scale Richter earthquake underneath the ground. So Iran hasn't done it, but they've said they have the ability themselves, and they block investigators. Now, Israel did say earlier last year, earlier last year and late last year, as well as warn people they would act and bomb themselves. Now,
we do have a question from chat. Okay. Yes. Timon, your source for the information, if someone wants to look it up. That's a very good question, Timon.
So, source on which?
On the information you're giving out.
So there was a speech that Netanyahu famously gave.
Okay.
About before the UN, where he showed the bomb graph. I think it was last year. Then earlier in the meetings in Netanyahu this year, our DOD, because the stuff I'm saying about during the Bush years, you can go back when they were finding building facilities, our CIA was basically monitoring it just because you
Big
need
Brother
to.
stuff. Got it.
You basically look. It's not the Iranians you have to worry about deploying the nuke. It's the person they sell it to. But that's a separate topic because that's how their country works.
So what you're saying is we shouldn't even be going after Iran.
To be honest, strategic bombing, but Iran, though, they have actually teased it or done it because they started off saying they wanted a nuclear program. Then they said we were going to weaponize it because there was a shift in their, not just a shift in their government, but now you don't go from one facility to multiple facilities with advanced centrifuges and you're not weaponizing it. Now the problem is, if they have the material, do they have the trigger? That is the trick, because in an era, it's not that I'm saying it's right to go after them or wrong. Israel did good enough job because taking out, supposedly before we got involved, they took out 6 scientists. They killed one.
That was part of the strategic
they killed
thing by Israel, I believe. First strike.
You're talking about, just to give you an idea, Mossad, they don't play by anyone's rules and no one can control them. They were the ones who actually invented the pager bombs, which
maybe
you don't know about that, do you?
No,
so Hamas
No,
leaders were using. So here's a funny. Hamas leaders were using pagers.
Look what you started, Lumpy Willie.
So,
go on.
So somehow Hamas found out about this, intercepted that shipment, and put enough plastic explosives in there and tracking devices, and randomly, when they were ready, blew them up. That wound up killing and maiming a bunch of Hamas leaders. So Mossad and most of Israel, especially Mossad, doesn't play by rules. Now, they started the attack first on Iran. They got lucky that Iran is being abandoned by everybody. Now, they haven't really attacked the country versus decapitated 2 Revolutionary Guard generals, a Joint Chief of Staff, and what on record is we say about 6 scientists. So, will it escalate? You never know. But we did deploy B-2s to go bomb those facilities because those facilities are about a mile or 2 underneath the ground, and you need uranium-tipped bunker busters to get rid of them.
Okay, come on, Lumpy Willie. What are your thoughts on this? You got this sort of from commentary dipshitter stuff to this sort of topic.
That was all Lord, man. That was all him. He's the GOAT.
Okay. Now Tiamon has a channel. He mostly plays with horrible fucking audio. Have you fixed that shit yet, Tiamon?
I have, yes, in certain aspects.
So wait. Okay. So hold up. So Vincent, what are your thoughts on all this? Do you think we were justified?
It's too soon to fucking tell any of this stuff. Yes.
Well,
we should double check.
Do you think Israel's in the right, or do you think they're in the wrong?
I don't have enough information on that. Why are you asking
what
someone
are your
who
thoughts
doesn't
on,
have?
What are your overall thoughts on Israel? No, because this is like pretty essential to this like whole argument.
No.
In the grander picture, in the grander picture, it is. It totally is.
So you're saying the means of a sort of shifting the conversation and commentary to be more political in nature is a good thing.
Everything's political. So.
Yes, but sometimes verifying and fact checking things instead of just asserting yourself in a space that, frankly, it's a space that I'm not comfortable in, given all the sexual allegations that sort of come.
He's not
very high.
He's not going to be. Let me help you out. Look.
So you don't like evidence being presented?
No, I am fine with evidence. It's just about verifying it is really fucking tough.
Uh-huh.
So you would rather false allegations spread than be common
false allegations. What are the false allegations?
Well, if I could just randomly say, you have like DMs with like a 15-year-old, right?
Yeah, that wouldn't actually prove anything.
Well, then I could AI your voice to saying, I want to fuck a 15-year-old. And I can make AI, and then I can falsify
we are
DMs.
fucked, okay? The post-truth society is going to fuck us all.
So now what do you think about that? What do you think about that? Do you think we should get evidence for that? Because that's enough evidence. It's enough evidence, Vincent.
It's not. It's fabricated, okay?
How's it fabricated? Can you
sort of like how
Can you
Can
prove that it's fake? Can you prove that it's fake?
There probably are ways to actually scan that shit to see if it's real or fake. There's other.
Okay, but what if it's really good audio to the point where you can like barely even tell? Even AI can't even detect it. Type shit.
That's kind of not true, but.
It 100% could be true.
Okay, he's like hypotheticals. Okay, we were. I'm not the biggest hypothetical fan. I had one that I thought was appropriate for the situation, but
I wouldn't say that's a good hypothetical because what you're talking.
Well, my whole point is that right. We need evidence for this. If somebody can fabricate evidence for this, then we have evidence. So,
coming from me, who actually has to deal with, I'm going through something with somebody right now.
Oh God,
who's
you groomed a 15-year-old?
No,
he deals with a lot of.
I deal with people who legit either fabricate.
He's a big Archcast fan, okay, and a big.
I deal with people who act. I am dealing with my friend who is currently being attacked because they false flag him for no reason. And
probably overhyping that. What's this? Do I even want to know? Sorry. I'm letting this just go wherever.
You don't know about when your favorite frog is, okay? But no, it's somebody who's in the orbit. And if you're talking about fabricating evidence,
Comicsgate orbit, I'm guessing, knowing you.
It's Chris Bacon, but yes.
Okay, of course, yes.
Yeah, it's basically an orbiter of Comicsgate, but go figure. But this thing about when you're talking about fabricating evidence, right? Because I'll tie this back into why a lot of people, you want to have evidence and you want to have proper proof before you do something. But it's easy enough to say, oh, because a name is used, the average person doesn't check the facts. Now, if it comes down to people wanting to create AI images or good enough AI and deepfakes, that's a separate thing. That is a serious topic down the line.
Yes, you can pull a lot of people off of that, and a lot of them won't give a damn about the fact.
No, the problem is, okay, here's the thing. If it's not going to matter, a lie travels around the world about 3 times faster than the truth. So someone, let's say they make an AI or makes a lie, it goes around quicker. Most modern world, they have president, like, did you see the video? Like, prime example.
Wait, so what's your point?
So
I'm kind of lost here.
Is he going to have one? I don't know.
I will. So
sometimes
here's the
they
thing.
go on.
So you talk about deepfakes and verification.
Yeah.
People will lie. Let's say this exists. You will not be able to verify it either till it's too late, or you're going to have to clear it up. Let's say you created a deepfake of a government, of Trump saying something in a speech. Someone did that recently. That passed around Twitter. Everyone thought it was truth. And then the White House, none of the White House said it, and everyone thinks it's fact.
Okay, yes. They've done a lot of the White House has propagated a lot of things. There's the new right, Vance, definitely seems to be pushing MAGA in a certain direction.
Someone took an AI thing and said Trump said something. And it was a perfect AI, not a perfect AI, but it was a very deep fake AI. And it got spread around Twitter. Now, in a case like this happening, do you think government officials have 100% ability to check stuff like this? No. And if you're dealing...
I would assume that they could at least have a department where they can be like, can you run this? Do they not? If you're in the White House, why would you not fucking be able to at least call on the Secret Service or some department to check something before you run it? People don't do that because they're full of shit. They want plausible deniability.
No, it actually depends on the no offense, dude. We've already been on the 5th or 6th generation of AI.
Okay. Yeah, so hold up. I don't mean to interrupt you, man.
Please do.
I would love to get back to the topic of Israel. So Vincent, overall thoughts on everything. Israel, good, bad? Do you side with the Jews? Do you hate them? I just want to get your general feel before we could actually start the conversation about Queeman. Because as you know,
why is what he
because the topic of Israel because the topic of Israel and like the whole conflict in the Middle East right now is actually very pivotal too.
Okay, explain why.
Because the whole drama is about Hassan and Ethan. What are they arguing about?
Yes, it's
Israel, Palestine.
Drama. Okay,
no one's arguing about that now.
Well, no, not now, but it is the whole fundamental of the case. So I would just really like to get what your bias is regarding Israel and Palestine.
My bias is pretty much who has the best evidence for a particular action at the time.
I mean about specifically Israel and Palestine and that whole conflict in the Middle East. Do you like Israel?
Not everyone needs to have an opinion on everything. Okay, not everyone
for this
needs
drama,
to have
you kind of do have to.
No,
I'm sorry.
Don't. No, you don't. You
really
just look
do.
at what people are saying, if it's true or not. Okay. Yes, there is a underlining sort of political factor within this drama as we're putting it out. People are playing proxy warfare through what influencers would you call it? Hassan, Ethan. There's even a little bit of Asmongold action
who has the best evidence
there.
then? Israel or Palestine?
That is not really something I could actually determine. Can you determine it? Please.
Well, with everything that's going on, yeah, I'm pretty sure you can call what's happening in Palestine a genocide 100%.
No, you can't. Okay, there's too much misinformation on both sides of the matter. Okay, I know that much at the very least. Genocide is what you would have to prove intent, and
they are trying to clear the West Bank in order to.
No.
Yes.
Okay.
This is
you two argue.
No. I'm not arguing. I want your opinion, Vincent. So who has the best Who has the best evidence in this? You're a big evidence guy.
Huh? Yeah, it's not a particular matter. You're making an unrelated matter to interpersonal issues between people.
It doesn't relate to the commentary, international stuff like that. Doesn't relate to the.
No, this is the thing with Queeman. Everyone. No,
wait,
let me not
stop,
put that on
stop,
Queeman.
stop.
Yeah, you're right. Let me not put that on
Well,
Queeman.
no.
You're
I just
trying
want you
to
to stop
force
because
this to be political. Got it.
Well,
Go.
no, because it shows me where your biases are, so I know exactly where you're coming from.
Yes, my
There
bias
is nobody.
is.
There is nobody. There's a thing, right? My expertise was history and science, and I have followed military and the political goings on.
Okay, wait. Okay, Lord, how about this?
If I say, right, hypothetically, do I think just because I say I think Israel's in the right for taking out Hamas because they've been doing missile attacks? Because when we have to deal.
But the counter argument is if Netanyahu sort of built up a force. I believe this is the argument of the.
Is that
the genocidal side is that
let me make this
purposely
Let me make this way simpler, right? I think this will just help me determine it, and then we can finally move on to the human conversation. You have two buttons on your desk, right? One says bomb Israel. The other one says destroy Iran and Palestine. Which one are you pressing?
Neither.
Gun to your head, you have to press one. No, gun to your head, you have to press one.
I'll take the gunshot to the head. That is the option. A false dichotomy is.
That is not a good dichotomy.
Why do people think that they need to really get into this sort of a geopolitical?
This
why
doesn't
are you trying
belong
to force
in
commentary in that? It probably doesn't. Okay, this is why commentary is just looking at the evidence that they can prove to sort of move forward with this. There is there's no.
I'm just trying to determine your biases here. Because I feel like this is
bias is
because I feel like this goes
that there needs to be a neutral person.
I feel like this goes
focus
deeper than Queeman. I just have a feeling.
You feel like it goes deeper.
No,
than
I think
Queeman.
it goes deeper than Queeman. Yeah, with all your right wing talk, your political speak.
He is from right wing, but
yes, I avoid taking sides on a lot of Trump versus Biden or anyone like that. Okay, I'm so political.
Well, I mean,
it's an anti-political stance.
Well, from the way I've heard you speak, you use more more terms siding with right wingers. So
it depends on the particular subject matter. Okay,
I disagree with that, but look. Here's a bigger thing, by the way. This is what I would love to see. And since if you want to have the future of commentary for real, do you know about the Ethan Klein actual lawsuit? Yes.
Yes, everyone's talking about that.
So you're now here's something you talk about the state of decay with commentary.
State of decay. Elaborate.
So modern commentary probably I think starts from a couple of the talking heads, and then goes down to the orbiters, and then maybe down to the followers. Because let's assume, because almost in everything I've either seen,
so what am I? Am I a follower? Or am I a leader?
I don't know enough about you.
Yeah,
I'm just speaking in hypothetical.
Aren't you one of the tadpoles, as Tony would put it? I think that's what he would be.
What is a tadpole?
Is
this some weird lolly stuff or like?
No, it's concerning Frog Tony. Okay.
Okay, no, I think
his
when
little
you have
spies.
let's go back to an era.
They gather information. It's pretty. I think the term in commentary is just Spurgs or maybe A-loggers. There's many people.
Well, okay, wait. Spurg is like a slur. So let's not do that on your stream.
It's not a slur.
I'm trying to not get your stream taken down, but whatever. If you want to keep using it, go ahead.
The way I look at this, right, is let's say you have a main person who has a talking point and spreads something. They have followers. Now you clearly have. Think of this as an atom, like a depiction of an atom. You have the stuff nucleus and the stuff that floats around it. So you have the crap, and eventually everything gets down to the orbit.
Dude, I'm sorry. I'm not with this like mumbo jumbo science stuff. I'm gonna be real.
Yeah, sorry. Let's simplify it, Timon.
Okay.
You're losing
Well,
him.
no,
Hold on.
Let me say this.
So
Let
why
me phrase
do we
it.
need to understand?
So what would you
and
consider?
pick a
What would
side?
you consider?
Oh God.
Mopsy. So what was it? Demon Mama or whatever her name was that orbited Vosh.
Demon Mama. Well, in what terms? What would I consider like
Wait, was she-
attractiveness or like?
Wait, no, she was an orbiter of Vosh, correct? At one point, she started She got most of her talking points from Vosh. Because if you can blame you have to. If your argument is if the leaders have gone bad, and it's going to trickle down to the orbiters who follow those people, and then you have the outside people who just comment on everything.
So one of the top guys in commentary, Tommy C. Tommy C.
What? He's not okay. Gotta fact check you. He's not a leader in commentary. He's like the drunken uncle of commentary. Okay,
He's crazy. He's deluded, completely deluded, right?
Deluded, I don't think is the right word. He's the cranky man on his porch. Be like, get off my lawn, you kids. And sometimes he's right to kick the kids off. Sometimes they're just sniffing the flowers in his yard. Okay, go on. Tommy C, you're trying to prop him up.
Sorry. Yeah. So like when one of these leaders has like pedophile allegations against him, like, do you think that's okay to like keep that guy around, or like?
Depends on how fucking substantial the pedophile allegations are. Okay.
Well, okay. Well, here
there's shit thrown at Chud. Everyone has claims.
This is actually really reliable evidence. There's actual like proof for this, somewhat, but obviously
I've heard there's some for Dev also from someone. Go on.
Yeah. There's some proof right now. It's not coming out yet because obviously people need to get the victims. The victim's consent to obviously come out with this. This being related to his how he talked about his daughter, right? How she like moved out at 17.
I'm familiar with what was brought up. I'm not a logger or lore master of Tommy C.
Well, this is very recently.
I know about his time.
Anyways. So certain people have come forward to say that one of the main reasons why he has such an estranged relationship with said daughter is because Tommy C, on a drunken rage one night, came into her room, thought she was his wife, and I don't want to draw it out, right?
Yeah,
but
please
I think we can
don't.
all...
That is what has that been verified by anyone? Or is it
yeah. No, it's been verified. It's been verified.
Why is there not a video on it? Can you link me to the video with this evidence or docket?
No. This is evidence behind the scene.
Oh, evidence behind the scenes. That secret stuff that none of us have access to. How's that? Why bringing this up? How relevant is it? Okay, and how does this relate to Queeman? I'm trying to work with you.
Well,
your
I'm
line of
just...
logic.
Hold up.
I know. It's funny, man. I know you're...
So here's the thing. If people have allegations like this against them, you either need to have it properly reported to the police.
Are you okay, man?
Sorry, I just like stubbed my toe. I'm so
sorry.
Oh,
okay. That's
I
very
just have
weird,
a thing when I hear about
I just kicked my foot. That's my bad.
So
I'm sure.
So if people have serious rumors, it's kind of like what Destiny's like multiple lawsuits going on right now about him sharing the revenge stuff and then doing all this for years that has resulted. That's usually can be commented on because better than things because there's usually evidence for it, and of course there's documents. But the stuff about when you say there's I'm not saying this on Tommy C and a bunch of others. I have seen
bullshit, probably. Okay,
those are allegations where I would say proper authorities need to be involved, and if not, don't comment on it.
Wow. Maybe for that big of an allegation, there's a lot. So getting back, why do I need to understand the Israel-Palestine war or whatever to understand Queeman? I'm still not
going back to
understanding.
this? Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm going to bring it back around. I'm trying to understand why you brought that up in relations. I am neutral on that.
Which
I
one?
can
The Tommy
determine
C
that
allegation or?
No, with the Queen. I'm going back to the Queenman. I need to understand this war to understand something going on in commentary. That just seems absurd
because
to me.
It just helps me lay out your biases that you would have to this topic.
I have a neutral bias. If I was actually doing an investigation and got to, like, let's say you have a month to prepare, and at the end of the month you had a gun to your head and you had to decide which side is the bad guys. It can be both sides in reality. This is why the gun to the head bit is not a false dichotomy, but it's a binary choice. Both two things can exist at the same exact time. Okay, there can be bad things going on in Israel, and there can be the same badness going on in Iraq, Gaza, all there. Both things can be bad at the same time. Which is worse? Go on.
I'm very interested. What are the bad things that are going on in Iran specifically?
Well, the claims, okay? The claims are that they're trying to enrich
weaponized uranium.
Yes.
Weaponized
the material you need to make nuclear bombs. I don't know if there's any truth to that at all, but I can only go with what people are saying and what is presented to me at the time. I mean, this is definitely going outside of my expertise. Okay, so bravo for getting into one of the sort of rules for radicals. I have that. Yeah, whenever possible, go outside the experience of the enemy.
Well, I didn't know. I didn't know you wouldn't have experience.
Yeah, I don't know if you consider me an enemy or not. I don't really see the world in that way.
I consider you Vincent Martin.
Okay, that's good.
Are you okay with me calling you that, or is that like doxing you?
No, you really think that's my real name?
No.
Well, it could be.
It's not. Okay.
Do you think my name is my real name?
Lumpy Willie. You probably have a Will or Bill or something in your name to aspire
or
to
Jill
really
or Till or Pill.
You could be. Are you one of the eggs out there that Demon Mama is always trying to get into the fold, or Kevil's into the fold?
Are you saying that they're trying to crack me?
Maybe. Okay, the trans stuff is some of it's very weird, I must say. Okay, maybe why you think
are you familiar with groom cords? Are you familiar with groom cords?
Groom cords? No.
Now you were saying you get.
Well, do you know who Bunk is?
Oh yeah, I've heard of Bunk. Didn't he have like sex with a transgender? I think that's the last I heard.
Multiple, actually.
Oh, okay.
Well, okay, I'm not going to get into Bunk right now because that's completely off topic. I don't know why you even brought me there, but sure.
Well, I didn't make you go to Bunk, okay? I'm familiar with both the panel political scene, but I'm more familiar with definitely commentary, and definitely the last year was looking into the Gooner Gators, I guess. So
that sounds awesome.
Anyways, no, it's not. It's not. It's retarded as fucking Smash JT. I don't know why Queeman is low key making him seem cooler. Well, I do know why he's doing that, because they are the better of two evils there. They're both bad. Goonergate and what I've termed God.
And trans people. Interesting.
No. Why do people keep trying to put that on me? Okay.
Well,
trans people are people.
You just said they're both bad.
Goonergate?
You said
in relation, Godgate.
In relation to like groom cords, you said groom cords stemming into.
No, I said I had no clue what you're even talking about there. So
you don't know what a groom cord is.
I don't want to know what it is. I don't think anyone wants to know what it is.
No one ever does. Is there another?
Well, let's just say it's the
Dickers. Okay, we have a dick in
Uh-oh.
on stream. Okay, Dickers.
Dickers.
This is complete shit show so far. What do you want to add to the shit pile?
You're just completely running from the Israel and Iran conversation.
No, I'm saying, I mean,
not everyone wants to talk about.
I don't know
that.
how that
not even I do.
Coming back. I don't know how
it just helps me lay out your biases in the situation.
Yes, my bias is neutral. Bring me certain information.
You have a neutral bias.
I don't think everyone needs to have an opinion on this.
Vincent, wait. You can't have a neutral bias if you like the old commentary rather than the new commentary. That's obviously taking a bias.
I prefer them over the new.
Okay, so you have a bias. So you have a bias. You have a bias.
Yeah, I guess you can say I have a bias towards old commentary
so now,
because they have certain standards that I agree with, which
is no evidence in relation to allegations.
Where's there no evidence? Okay, what's the allegation?
Well, you said you hated. You said you didn't like that we had to push for evidence when making claims.
Did I say that?
Yes.
Did I really say that?
Probably.
Okay, yeah, there.
I don't know. You've been trying to like mind rape me with like all this Israel talk. And
you're the one who's saying that I needed to understand Guiman.
Well, no, you do. Well,
no,
I do.
Why? Why? You haven't gotten to why I need to know this.
I've been laying it out for the past, I think, like 30 minutes that I've been on. Here.
Just speak to us like we're children, dumb children, okay? You do it anyways to other people, like you're superior to them, okay? Psychology is actually something I know pretty well.
Hey, Dickers.
No, I can't think that Lumpy Willie is the person to condescend or talk down to somebody. I don't think he has been.
I've never do that.
No, he's trying to play the wordsmith. See, guys, give a clue. Most of the, I'll be honest, as much as I even delve into politics and delve into news, I have been, even though I do gaming and stuff, I don't even like talking about the whole current Middle East situation, not because of out of safety reasons, because I have seen nothing but that in my feed since it's happened. And the war is crap, and I don't like seeing it. And you don't bring that in, and that's a false dichotomy when someone doesn't know details about it. And even if you're getting
what's the false dichotomy? Which side of the conflict is for? That's not a false dichotomy. That's like the dichotomy.
You have the button. The Lumpy Willie brought up. You need to press a button.
Wait. Okay. Let me.
I need to press a button.
Wait. Let me just simplify this. Let me
it's
just
good for a
simplify this.
keyboard. I don't know how you type without pressing buttons, but maybe you have an alternative way to do that.
Okay. Here. Let me ask you this. Okay, I'll simplify this, and I think this will give me kind of a similar response to one I want. What do you think about like paw posting?
Paw posting.
Mm-hmm.
What is paw posting? Okay, you're throwing all these new terms at me. Definitely going outside of my expertise. Okay. Where's that from?
Okay. Let me simplify this a little more, I guess. What do you think about like people who dress up in fursuits?
Depends. Okay. There's a multitude of psychological factors that could explain the fascination with furries.
I'm just trying to.
Autism is definitely
like
one of them. There's definitely sort of argument that people want to do sexual shit anonymously. You know, basically not have their face and do weird sexual shit. There's many different
like Diddy shit, right?
There's plenty of all sorts of stupid, kinky shit out there in the world. But if you're talking about furries, I'm familiar with all that crap.
Yeah. Do you like that stuff?
No, not really.
Not really. Do you have a favorite like animated animal character, anything like that?
This seems like a weird place when we're talking about commentary. I hope it has a related point.
No, it is related.
It's run from the question. This is such an easy question to answer.
No.
Are you trying to pull the dog warts? Are you gonna go?
No. Okay, I don't.
Dog warts.
I'll prove you. I'm not afraid to answer questions like that. Go on.
Okay. Dickers,
demonstrate for us, Dickers.
The bunny from Zootopia.
That's a good one.
Easy.
That's a good one. Okay, now your turn, Vincent.
I guess Jessica Rabbit if I had to pick. Okay.
Yeah, she's hot, right?
As an animated chick, maybe. Yes, for animated. Yeah, that's just part of the childhood thing, probably sickening in. Okay, answer.
Hold up. Give me 1 second.
Okay. Yeah, I'll give you a couple of seconds if you
Wait,
want.
okay, wait. Jessica
Okay.
Rabbit is actually a human. She's not an animal. I want specifically an animal character.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking Lola Bunny. Sorry.
Oh,
Space
Lola
Jam
Bunny.
and crap.
Oh,
Okay, that's
thank
what I
you.
was
Thank you.
thinking.
Okay, glad we got that
Okay.
clarification.
Yeah, I don't know.
So-
if I had to pick, that's what I would go with. So I'm trying to figure out.
Let me put it in these terms as well. Grease or no grease for that?
For what?
Why would this be a thing?
What, Greece?
Greece, yeah.
I am literally asking because if you want to have an honest discussion about the state of commentary,
You think they want to have an honest discussion? Okay,
this is
go
not
ahead.
doesn't
Keep
make
going.
sense.
Well,
And if
okay,
you
this
hang-
is
Let
this
me
is my
hang-
final
let-
question.
Do you think this is a dishonest question Lumpy Willie is asking right now? He's asking.
No,
this
I'm
question
just
about
trying to
faith. Anything about
understand
faith.
why we're getting
Reasoning.
so far away from the original topic.
So the
I'd
idea-
like to see these things play out, to
Well,
see how
this-
people play them out. So
This is-
keep on
this
going
is-
on.
This is-
It,
no,
it
well, this is-
teaches
this is
me
just- this is just
about the
laying out-
line of logic. That
This is just laying out my logic. This is just helping me lay out
Okay,
your biases.
this is a very weird path. Keep
Okay,
going.
So grease or no grease type shit.
In response to the Greece, you talking about Greece? What are you talking about? Grease lightning?
Just grease or no grease? Just grease or no grease?
I would prefer no grease. Okay, if it, I don't.
Yeah,
who
my
would
boy.
like greasy things? Who would
The
like
man of
greasy
culture.
things? Okay, I'm still trying to
No
wonder.
consent type shit. I fuck with it, Vincent. I fuck with it.
Yeah.
What the hell's wrong with you?
Lots
Anyways,
of things wrong,
I'm getting
but-
bored. Bye.
Good. Thank you. See, like, where's the point? How did we ever get back to Queeman? Okay.
No,
How is this enjoyable for, again, Spurgs? What, Dickers, you're here. What do you think about
Hello.
the state of the commentary? You're a new man. Definitely you got pulled into the fire with the kinetic Kel stuff. I think that took you by surprise, right? The sort of
Well, not so much, to be fair. I mean, people forget this, or people maybe don't know this. Originally, the only reason why I was associated with Kel was because I was trying to, give her a little bit of advice, give her a little bit of help, to avoid kind of like public dramas or situations like that. And then after a while, kind of, being friends with Kel just becomes slightly untenable.
from what I know,
she's
that
just a little
seems
bit
like
of
the case.
She's a little bit of a loose cannon, we'll say, or just realistically, just pretty neurotic and and a little bit unstable. But no, I mean, initially, me and Kel were friends. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you
So
got into it
basically
with
the
that stuff from what I know.
Basically, this person. It's funny how people I know, strangely enough.
Tiamon, sorry, don't try to relate this to something you know. What are you trying to relate it to?
So if a person is you can help them, but if they attract too much drama, you can't guide them. So
It's
you
like
just
being a
watch it
doctor
burn.
and you're trying to treat somebody with like turbo AIDS, like not the STD type, like
Spurg wrangling. Okay?
skin on
used to be
skin
called
contact type,
Spurg wrangling. That was the terminology that used to be used, trying to bring in someone who's widely, but maybe is useful, like Colton.
You know what's funny?
like
I
Todd
found-
wrangling somebody. Yeah.
So one of my friends that I actually had I was having a conversation with him randomly one day. He's new. He's never been in our area of the internet anywhere near. He got recommended Kraut.
Okay.
Without
Kraut,
knowing
yeah.
who he was. I was like, how do you get recommended Kraut after all these years?
Dude's
Kraut
done
gets,
his
like,
thing
thousands
after
of
the
views on
Discord
his,
server.
history videos, right?
Yeah.
But I
mean, he's been
remember
pulling
I
numbers.
remember him for what he was way back in the day with like 3 arrows and other people around him back in the day. I'm like, you special.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay,
you're-
let's
you're-
get back into the Tommy C since Dicker's in here. What's your thoughts on it? I'm not going to judge. Your unmitigated thoughts, and we'll
We've
probably
got an
disagree.
open space to speak our minds. Okay. I mean, I just think that Tommy knows almost nothing about the different dramas or the different situations he's talking about. Like the New Year's stream, and I don't even think that he's watched it recently, to be clear. I don't think that he's gone back and actually watched it for himself again before he started making these comments. Because a lot of the stuff that he's talking about and a lot of the stuff he's saying about it, he would just know that's like just factually incorrect. Like, it's not even down to it like a matter of opinion, right? If you have watched the New Year's stream, you would not say that Chud brought this up apropos of nothing. And the thing is as well,
no, Tommy's
you
theory
might actually
on
be able
this.
to criticize Chud for bringing up that photo, right? Even with the fact that Aiden never told Chud to keep it private. He just told him not to screenshot the photo, and he thought
But
that
we
it was
don't
implied.
think bringing up something Aiden told him on a stream where Aiden wasn't there might be. I don't know how those two are related. Was Aiden in that stream?
No.
Okay. Aiden's interesting fellow from what
Have
I
you watched
know.
the New Year's stream?
Yes, I've watched the New Year's stream a couple of times. I think it's a bit of a stretch. I think Tommy C's putting everything together. Like, I agree with most people. It's very conspiratorial. He doesn't have the evidence to back it up, but he's a go by the gut sort of guy. Do you not think this is him just going with his gut? Okay. Going with his instinct, which had
I
him
think
go
it
after
is,
Mama Max.
but in the
Okay.
same way as like the homeless guy on the edge of the street screaming, "The end is nigh, repent your sins, the end is nigh." He's kind of going with his gut as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but you saying his gut was wrong about Mama Max in some circumstances. I agree. His gut sometimes throws him the fuck
Broken
off.
clock,
okay?
innit? Broken clock, innit? I mean, he says that, I knew about Destiny way before any of these guys kind of figured out who he was. I mean, Tommy originally thought that Destiny was some kind of freak and creep because of his political prescriptions, because he disagreed with him politically.
I don't know about that. He disagrees.
I mean, let's
with
be
quite
real.
a few
He calls Kleeman
things,
like a bread
politically.
tuber and says that everyone in the Chud sphere is like a lefty guy. I don't think that is true. In
No.
commentary, it's just not really. I mean, even
See,
if you
it's
take
really
Chud, he's not
complex.
really a lefty. He's like a center-left, like, moderate. He's like a moderate Labour supporter, realistically.
Who basically didn't.
Chud logic.
Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, from what I know of Chud, and he did come and talk to Arch after, like, Dev was really close to him and talking to him. But he started, not on the path Sargon was on, where he started seeing the issues with the activist left. So he moved from what is a classical liberal position to maybe independent to a conservative, as we describe it.
What, Chud? Are we talking about Chud? Sorry.
I said Chud is on the path Sargon is on, slowly but surely.
No,
because
he still hates on a lot of the cringy rightoid things. Okay, Tiamon.
I don't think Sargon.
He also
really
hates
likes
he hates a lot of the trans activist shit. Also, he has both of the opinions that.
But supposedly he's really good friends with Dev and talks to him. But Dev,
what the hell? Chud is really
Okay.
good friends with Dev. That's unsustainable.
I think there's some kind of association there. I think they've spoken before.
Sure,
Good
they
friends?
both
I
sort
don't
of-
think so.
They
not
both
friends,
have
maybe not, because you got like the idea of if Chud, like if someone accuses, like when I hear Queeman, like an example,
Dickers, please feel free to stop.
It's fine.
Tiamon here in case he goes on too long. He
So
doesn't.
the biggest thing I hear is I usually hear, to me, it's probably the American brain. It's usually the out there, whatever Brit or Aussie he sounds like, because I'm like, here I call that a socialistic speak of like, oh, but if you start seeing isms, istin, phobes in your thing, you're probably not looking at stuff from a normal perspective. You're not going to make.
You think the average person wouldn't understand what somebody meant if they said homophobia?
I think that, but
overplaying
sexism.
that at the end of the day, okay, just making any sort of example of that. into some sort of homophobia claim. Okay.
I think no, but if you're saying you're using isms and phobias and whatever, you're not looking at it like a normal person. The average person knows what racism is. The average person understands what sexism is.
When you're going into it, when you hear certain people use certain words that you know are only used in what we call leftist echo chambers, I can tell you that is usually the red flag sign because.
Well, I think what you're more so describing is that in your mind, when you hear somebody use like an ism or a phobia, you instantly roll your eyes and discount them as like some kind of lefty.
I kind of question because look,
so that's not like, that's not an actual red flag. That's just a kind of heuristic that you've developed.
Like
because you don't like lefties, I guess.
No, if someone uses a word like that you know is used in what is a progressive or socialistic leaning circle, you know what direction they're coming from. Okay. Because I can tell you, outside and normal, I don't hear the word neurodivergent much. But the only people I hear ever quoted are the ones who in the States we call the far lefties, or the ones that would be to the left of even the most far-right liberals.
Have you ever worked in an office?
I wish I didn't. I wish I didn't.
Are we talking if you're going through it, like if you're hearing it, like if your job is training that's kind of different in an HR? I'm assuming.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So usually during like job training, when you first join, just to make sure you're not going to like harass anybody or like call anyone like like an autist or whatever. You will probably like hear the language there, right?
I don't think you're going to hear the word neurodivergent. And you're not going to hear this because there was a survey done last year that maybe 3%, 40% of the population may have heard it, but only like 5% use it. So if someone says, "Oh, you're using microtransgressions," no one uses that in normal speak.
I've never heard anyone use the word microtransgressions. Sorry.
Well, you haven't been around long enough. Microaggressions, I think, is what he's trying to say. Microaggressions.
I think so.
Yes.
There's like a whole list of words, but you just know where. And see, the thing is, a lot of people, if it's in commentary at Queeman, like, I'll hear stuff. It's not that I say from a position. I'll talk to anybody. Like,
yeah, I don't know how that's relevant. It's good to talk to anyone, Tiaman.
But I say, if like when you look at like people I've seen go after Chud in people different parts of the commentary community, they just either don't like their political stances or where they shifted their position.
Yeah, I think you've been swimming outside of commentary for too long, Tiaman. I think no matter what side they're on, they try to appear to be apolitical, whatever political views they have.
Really apolitical.
They try, okay, definitely that.
No one's apolitical.
With the Tommy C, it's obvious his bias is against the lefties. My natural instinct is to be against the lefties, but I like to hear them out. In the end of the day, Dickers, you watched my video. Did you watch my video? What should I clarify?
One, not yet. I think I was saving it for on stream.
When it gets boring, I understand. Okay. There's a certain point I bring up about. Are you familiar about his interaction with card posting?
He's had a few, but I'm guessing you're talking about the lolly video.
Yeah.
Well, the pedo video. Yeah.
Yeah, I just found the sort of talk they had really weird. That comes up in my video. I don't go much into details, but yeah, I probably should have actually focused on that response video. But you don't know about it. You're here.
Yeah.
So is Tiaman.
What are your opinions on the Tommy C thing? Because if you don't agree with his point about the Boblax leaks, you think it's a little bit of a stretch. Or if I'm putting words in your mouth, feel free to cut me off. Do you think it's a stretch? Do you think it's like, or do you think it's a good point? Or it feels like if the only defense you can really muster of Tommy C is that he's going with his gut, I feel like
really
at that point, any kind of support any kind of support of like his thinking process.
Trust
is
me,
probably,
I would be right
left in the
where
dust, no?
I would be right with you if it wasn't for Chud's horrible response to hyper focus on interpretation, which is the worst way of framing it. Queeman came on and did this whole sort of autistic. What do you think he meant by what was it called? Looking the other way. He tried to look at that,
to be
like
fair,
the definition of that.
This is a particular point where I think Tommy is just completely disconnected. This is a problem that Tommy has. He doesn't want to play the definition game, but he is not a very good representative of what he thinks. Virtually everybody who I've seen give a reaction to that stream, as soon as Tommy talks about looking the other way, the immediate reaction is, what the fuck is Tommy saying? And then afterwards, maybe people
see it as a Freudian slip.
Maybe he doesn't. It's
in relations. Yeah, I agree. The Tommy thing.
But the problem is that Tommy says that when people are interpreting it as what Tommy's saying, they were looking the other way because they thought it was fucked up. They thought the allegations were fucked up, and that Chud was like some kind of groomer guy. That's a pretty clear interpretation from it. But Tommy says that's like dishonest.
Okay, and that's what he's trying to say, that him and the other commentary guys helped Chud get through and help him out.
No, they didn't. He didn't even know.
That's what he's definitely implying with that.
Well, the
he's
timeline
definitely
is
trying to imply it.
Chud didn't even have association with Destiny. Never mind the commentary guys at the time that he had his allegations.
Which allegation? Oh, around that, I think. Didn't Destiny come to his aid also during that, or am I mistaken about that?
Tommy watched Destiny watched it in the same way that I might go over some kind of rape allegation. Yeah,
I think Destiny came to his. I think Destiny
reviewed them
came
on
to
stream.
his defense.
He did come to his defense, but he didn't know Destiny at that time. That was kind of how he met Destiny.
I believe you're correct, if my memory serves me right.
So if Tommy's point is that the commentary guys helped him through that,
yes.
No, the commentary guys didn't help him through that. This was like years later.
Okay. That seems to be how Tommy is viewing it. Okay, I would have to rewatch a lot of stuff to see if Tommy is just off his rockers with the commentary. Also, a lot of this shit can be behind closed doors. They're very fucking secretive. Do you know about Salvo Pancakes? He actually leaked like a group chat of like Keemstar. Fucking hell, who else was in there?
Tea Party? The Tea Party group chat leaks?
Yes, that was probably it. If it was leaked by Salvo, that's what I'm remembering. The group chat. Okay. So with that particular thing, that was like a big no-no. I'm just bringing that up. Commentary has the whole meme, the commentary cabal.
What if Salvo was leaking it to prove that he could leak it?
That was part of the group chats. He probably did know Salvo, as much as anyone can know Salvo.
But my point is that I don't know how. Yeah, sure. Salvo might get in trouble, or people might dislike him for leaking it. But Tommy's shown that he has no problem with people leaking stuff.
Okay. Yeah, he has no problem leaking stuff. If they're not friends. If they're friends with him, he has a very big loyalty, very high loyalty factor within there.
Yeah. I mean, that does seem to be where a lot of the disagreement comes from, and a lot of the conflict here, right? Tommy and other people expect Chud to have some kind of like loyalty first and foremost.
Yes.
Chud wants a more like free-flowing association. He kind of comes from, I guess, the politics crowd where, people are friends, but by the nature of the space, there's going to be like raucous disagreements, right?
Yeah, it's a lot more lax. The stakes are just opinions. Commentary deals with a lot of heavier subject matters, except for when fucking some of the political people get into some of the
Wouldn't it be because Chud still comes from what you would call a very old school side of it, where he thinks you can have an honest conversation? Probably the let's say, debate me bro era style, where, oh, I'll do anything to prove you wrong. Like, I'll have a conversation with you or something, and then I'm not going to assume you're going to come in here and try to slit my throat. Era. Am I wrong?
I mean, Chud has never been like a debate bro.
I mean, does he not think? Well, basically,
yeah, he was like a troll when he was on the panel scene, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, kind of.
I mean, does he not think that because of the idea generally, right? Let's assume you like should probably, without knowing it, like allegations get made. Either he's going to have to defend himself, or he's going to think, "Oh, I didn't think this person's going to slit my throat." I'm like,
you always got to go such extremes. Oh god.
Why are we talking about people slitting each other's throats?
Tiamon, he's a bit of a Tiamon. You're a bit of a spur.
I mean, okay,
different
you have your
context.
So what? Okay, help me out here. What is Tommy C's main issue with a person like Chuck? Tell me.
He doesn't trust him because he's done some things that he's leaked some things, and he thinks he's trying to hide his power levels. At the end of the day, he acts like an idiot and he lets this slip. People keep bringing up the sort of Aiden brought this up to Chud himself, which is a relevant point. But does Chud ever contest that he didn't know it was supposed to be quiet on that front?
Yeah.
See, there's confusion whether or not he knew if it was a secret or not. That still hasn't been cleared up.
Well, no. What we know so far is Aiden showed him the screenshot, and in the same way that, when Aiden, showed it to me, he said, "Don't screenshot this."
Okay.
But, he...
There's explicit
he never told him, keep this
idea
quiet,
that
don't talk about this, right?
Yeah, just saying don't screenshot
No, not explicit.
Not explicit, but indirect way of saying, yeah, don't share this around. I would assume from that sort of language there.
Yeah, probably. I mean, how are you going to share it around if it's if you don't screenshot it, right?
Yeah. Commentaries
but
a
there's
place
nothing
where
to say
evidence
that
is king.
There's nothing to say that he shouldn't talk about it. Especially if out of nowhere there's a conversation about trans topics and a conversation about AGP, and then all of a sudden Oggy starts saying, "Isn't that what Boblax is?" Damn, isn't that what Boblax is? Why would Boblax be an auto-gynophile?
Oh boy.
Unless he's hinting at the dress photo.
Oh, yeah.
It's nothing to do with non-binary. Nothing to do with him not necessarily feeling masculine. And maybe
okay,
like
I see
gender,
what you're laying down. You thinking maybe it could have been Augie who secretly prompted this? He was really the one who tried to...
Well, no. I'm just saying it's not coming out of nowhere. And I think in the context of the conversation that was going on, I think Chud had probably every reason to think that, oh, shit, wait, did that get leaked too? Or at least he says, I know that the photo hasn't been leaked, but the existence of the photo,
Okay. Yeah, the existence of the photo is being shared in the inner circle. Of course, Tommy would be under the impression it's hush-hush. It's like unspoken rule of commentary, which I'm not even the biggest fan of at the end of the day. There's some things that I think should actually be guarded, like with the whole attack against President Sunday pretty much coming in and sort of maybe trying to hint to Nick that, yeah, maybe you guys want to be on board with me for this.
What, President
so
Sunday?
We don't run you over. Yes, that's President Sunday.
I don't think President Sunday was trying to get Nick on side. I don't think President Sunday is the kind of guy who tries to get people on side, right? He's not.
He's
not like a commentary creator who's trying to build like a cabal or like a network of associations. He's just like a politics guy who finds a topic and goes at it like hell for leather. In that video, he's going after Destiny. He thought that a lot of the commentary guys who knew him and like spoke to him quite a lot were like sweeping for the allegations. He finds out that Nick has the screenshot. He's surprised. He realizes that these screenshots are getting like everywhere. He realizes that Nick has got more information than he thought he necessarily had. And that's when he decides to make the video. And the video is made within 2 days.
Okay. Yeah, Willie put the link to President Sunday's editor, who did a rather good video from what I saw going over that. I would have to.
So let me guess. Someone has knowledge. They're not supposed to share it. And somehow it leaks out because loose lips sink ships.
Yes.
And then it leads to unmanaged.
So I do think the sort of idea Tommy has about Chud, if that's true, it would be sort of weird. He would need to do that for President Sunday. So I don't think there's communications between Sunday. I think Tommy is off for thinking there's a connection there based on his own ideas. But I could be wrong there.
Yeah, I mean, fair play. I'm not trying to press you too much. I'm not trying to come across as like harsh or hostile. I say that because I'm going to ask. You've said a lot about what Tommy isn't good at, or you're saying what you think that Tommy is wrong on. Is there a single point that you think that he's correct on?
I definitely think there's a concerted push by a certain factor who definitely hang out in Chud's Discord, trying to sort of overtake the old guard. Nick, Willie, Turkey Tom. They don't even really care about Tommy C. He's irrelevant at this point. This is why they don't give a damn about if he just torpedoes himself with this unverifiable suspicion he has about Chud Logic.
I mean, is that even how audiences work, though? You can't just rhetorically kill the current people who are in high regard in kind of the old guard of commentary, and then just like take their place. You don't just get their audience, right?
That's correct. Okay. You would have to. How would it? That reminds me. Do you know where Mama Max's audience? Do you have any ideas about where Mama Max's audience, after commentary sort of kamikazed him, where they went to? I've been trying to track that for a while.
It's probably going to be like other like creepy YouTubers, right?
I think Lyrics got a couple of them.
Probably stuff like that, I'd imagine.
I think like Himpleton, a lot of them sort of latched onto commentary, like Himpleton did, with that sort of attachment with Lyrics. Do you remember that whole saga? Himpleton parasocially attached to
Lyrics?
Yes.
I do, yeah. Poor guy.
Yeah, I was in his server, so that's why I did.
I have a question though on this. But if this is something I've wondered for years as well, like when you look at people like Keem,
it's going to be a totally unrelated thing. But
no, these people have hung around in their spaces. Like I look at people like Turkey Tom, and I'm like, we've heard stories about what he's been through, but no one's really dethroned him, but he still gets the views. Usually by when a new person comes up, you can't cannibalize. You might come out of a person's audience, but you can't totally co-opt them.
No,
until
you
one
can just break them
collapses.
down, and you'll get a group of people from that group who's intense haters, and you'll get some who just parasocially attach themselves to that creator who took down it. You'll have some people just drift away and go off into the ether. That's the best theory.
I don't think you get a portion of that person's audience. For example,
you can,
if Queeman were to kill Chud, right? Chud is like a 1.5k Andy. Queeman is like a 400 viewer Andy. If Queeman were to turn on Chud, eviscerate him so much that Chud retired, Queeman works the streams at a different time. Queeman covers different topics. He has a different style.
Yes.
Why would any of Chud's audience go to Queeman? Maybe people find out who Queeman is through the drama.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that improves his reputation. He was able to rape and destroy Chud. Maybe, slightly.
Yeah.
How is that going to improve his audience share at all?
Not by much.
I think this
in
is
reality.
fundamental to a lot of Tommy's point about the new guard of commentary trying to kill the old guard. Maybe there's definitely a split there, just because they don't talk to each other very much. Like the old guard of commentary is incredibly insular, but how they wouldn't benefit from that. It's just two camps, I guess, and there's a lot of criticism heaped upon the old guard of commentary.
Yes,
and
they've been around a lot to accrue a lot of mistakes within their time. So Mama Max is one of the major ones, I think. Even Nick probably couldn't do anything against the allegations against Magnetar. Okay, and that was one of the weirdest things out of that. Everyone just bowed at Mama Max's feet and just gave up to him. It always sound weird to me, but Mama Max always had this sort of a cult of personality appeal from his early days. But I'm getting way too off topic. I do agree.
But to your original point about Tommy being right, that there's a new commentary kind of people who want to go after, I guess, the old guard. I mean, only insofar as they criticize them. And the old guard of commentary is very insular. And so it doesn't resolve in a conversation between them. It's usually just criticism. But I mean, who cares? It's the commentary community, right? If people want to criticize each other, it is what it is.
Okay. Yeah, if they want to criticize each other, that's perfectly fine. Do you think Tommy C's going with his gut instinct overall about his suspicion about Chud, given the sort of case that he's laid out, is completely wrong? Okay. You think it's just there's no line of logic through it? Because I see a line of logic. I just think it's horribly worded at the end of the day. Because the cell structure... Okay, I'll let you go.
Oh, no. I didn't mean to cut you off. What I was going to say is, if Tommy doesn't like Chud on a personal level and doesn't want to be friends with him, I mean, fair play. And maybe if he's got a kind of gut reaction that maybe Chud's more interested in content than being my friend, it's maybe, sure. I mean, I don't know if I'll necessarily agree, but if Tommy wants to think that, it's up to him. But as soon as you want to take that into the public arena and start making a public accusation that this person's a snake, as soon as you admit that you're going behind the scenes to criticize people and to say, oh, you guys shouldn't associate with Chud, blah, 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 that takes on a very, very different character at that point, right?
Well, I'm sure Tommy said all this stuff that he said behind the scenes.
That's then arguments he's making.
I'm sure he's everything. I believe Tommy C has said everything he said behind the scenes, probably misremembering. He's just coming out in public. At least it's something that we know now, that it's a position that Tommy C holds. And definitely Willie Mack has good reason for not liking that side of things also. Do you know about any of the coverage of Doomer Media by any chance, or would I be blindsiding you with?
No, I remember the Doomer Media saga, yeah.
Okay. I went over some of Queeman and Sunday's, Queeman in particular. Sunday came in the last leg of things on J-Stock stuff. So at the end of the day, I'm like, how the fuck does this pass for commentary? What Queeman is doing against fucking Doomer Media. Doomer Media is an idiot also. And he definitely shouldn't have disappeared after agreeing to the Hassan stuff. But he seems like he was paying it back, but Sunday still came at accusations against him. Which, oh God, it just hurts my head how stupid it came across. But of course,
I mean, maybe it's a stupid internal drama. But realistically, Doomer Media didn't have to leave, right?
He didn't. Okay, yes, he chose to. I don't know the details.
Part of the reason why he did is because Willie Mack got involved and decided to fire him as a researcher. So it wasn't Queeman or President Sunday in the end who actually did the damage to him. Willie decided to fire him off the back of this.
Okay. Yeah.
Right.
But who's the one who made a big deal out of it? Okay.
The person who we didn't, who Doom Media
Well, it
didn't
was
pay?
technically the one guy. Why did Sunday jump onto it? Why did Queeman jump onto it? What possible motivations?
You'd have to ask
Okay,
them, I
okay.
guess.
I'm not going to press you to answer things you don't know. Okay, at the end of the day, Sunday has a good reason. I think there's definitely an element when Doomer Media came out with his first video, the Vosh video, which he got criticism. He talked to Sunday. He got a whole bunch of feedback, and he doesn't do well in live coverage. He somewhat spurgs out. Okay, and they got him back then. They got him to change his name. He took it down. Okay. He ran away. Yes, he spurged out after the EFAP stuff and left the internet for a while. I thought that was quite pathetic, but he also has home circumstances. I actually know a few people who know him more personally, but that's something different.
Oh, so you've got a direct line to people who know Doom Media then?
Sort of. A friend of a friend. Okay. That sort of situation where I
if
can
it's the
pass
person
information
I'm
along.
thinking- If it's the person I'm thinking of.
Yeah, it's not someone really relevant in the scene, but someone who works
it's
with
a person I'm
relevant
thinking
people.
of. And I'm wondering if it's the same person that person wants me to talk to, but that person I've seen in my own chat.
Okay. Well,
Interesting.
not really, but
no.
Good enough of a thing
to know.
But yes, do you think that would have soured Willie Mack, that coverage where he had to fire Doomer Media off the backup?
He didn't have to. Willie Mack decided to.
Yes, he decided to. But do you think you can say you don't know?
I mean,
do you
realistically,
think
President
Willie
Sunday
Mack
and
would
Queeman,
have
especially at the time,
looked
had
at
absolutely
Queeman?
no influence. Willie Mack is like a much, much larger creator. If he decides to fire somebody because like tiny tiny shitters are like criticizing them, I mean, he's fired them, right?
Yes. Okay. What do you think he would have had a great impression for Sunday, Queeman, J-Stock, and even Doomer Media for going to J-Stock with all this shit to talk on that stream? Do you think he would have had a negative impression? He fired Doomer, the guy in his employee, as you're saying. And then I don't even know if that. Oh, I need to go fact check that. I don't even know if that was true, but I'll have to rewatch some of the end of the stuff. I don't think he fired him on that stream that day, the last Queeman video. But I guess that happened afterwards. What I'm saying, if he fired Doomer, do you think he would have some annoying feelings that President Sunday definitely seemed to try to bring him up in relations to Doomer's supposedly scam? Like pull in. President Sunday definitely tried to pull.
Maybe. Sure.
Okay.
I don't know.
That's just what I want to know. I wanted to know your opinion on that particular matter, since you said you were familiar with it.
Yeah. I mean, I could imagine Willie Mack being pretty annoyed at that. Yeah. Somebody's paying to do like
and
video
probably
research
after
and stuff,
and probably after when he went on Queeman's sort of interrogation, that probably furthered his distaste for Queeman and President Sunday in general.
I mean, yeah, Willie Mack just doesn't like Queeman, and I think even before that didn't like President Sunday. Yeah.
Well, President Sunday has an interest in history, which I don't even know how much Willie's even informed on. That guy seems rather
realistically as well, especially with the kind of the interview, or I guess the discussion that happened on Queeman's. People have seemed to got the idea, and I get it because Queeman's got a certain reputation, that Willie Mack was just like totally blindsided there and was totally raped for like no reason. But
he didn't. He was fucking trampling over Queeman. There was just that one part they liked to, where I think Kelly Jean part was the big hitter. Am I remembering that right? How public reaction was to around it? Or
I mean, yeah, Kelly Jean is always going to be either you're going to like people massively support her or massively hate her, right? That's just always the way it goes with Kelly Jean. Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I think definitely Willie Mack's impression of this group, and the fact that Chud does not tard wrangle some of these orbiters of him, I think it puts a sour taste in a lot of people's mouth. Okay, he'll be like, yeah, Queeman did this bad gay op thing and totally made Tommy C completely crazy. Okay.
Well, even for the psyop, I mean, there was no gay op, but even if you want to say there was like some kind of psyop, the two main things that I can think that actually affected Tommy C were A, the screenshot from, I think it was some Discord VC, where it's like, you know, somebody changed the title of it to like plotting evil things about Tommy C or something like that. And then the second one was that edited meme video about you know, Kel and 14-year-olds on Discord, right?
Okay, yeah.
When she was 14 on Discord. Both of those were made by somebody called David, who isn't a regular mainstay of the community. He kind of drifts in and out. He's a man who only follows his own mission. And his own mission is to fuck with people, right?
You make him sound like a mercenary, okay?
Listen, he's a loose cannon, all right? He's gone after Tommy. He's gone after some of the you know, smaller commentary people.
Of course, you find who spurgs out the best. Okay, you need
exactly
to test the buttons.
But the supposed like psyop, it was like nothing. The two things that I can think of were done by a user called David, who doesn't really have any like, you know, any loyalty to Queeman. He just tried to find people who he can fuck with and fucks with them.
Okay, he never tries to get any benefit out of the people he sort of helps on these campaigns. That seems weird. I'll have to look into this.
No, I mean, to be fair, a lot of the time there's it's not even like he's helping somebody on a campaign. Yeah, a lot of the time he's just tried to fuck with people.
So he's just some sort of third-party anarchist that doesn't give a. So
yeah,
is that what you describe? I know someone like that I deal with. Like, I don't think he cares about the actual cause he's in, and he kind of frustrates. I just pegged him as a person. I pegged this person if it's similar to that person. He just wants to watch things burn, and
there are people like that.
Set things in motion, so they like, and then they attach themselves to larger creators or influential people, and then they go, well, this looks like a trusted voice.
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of stupid people in the world, TMI. Okay. I can definitely say that. I can't actually bring up the sort of card post and stuff. I just found the sort of line of logic. It's never about the initial reaction, okay? I think Queeman was a little bit weird in his response, and when he got into chat with, that's the first part of my video, which I meme up a little bit. Okay, then I get into the more, I don't even want to call it serious, but he did delete, he did hide some stuff. I don't know if he deleted some VODs or just privated them, but some old VODs are just gone from his playlist, and that's never a good look, okay? Hiding old VODs is never a good look. Someone might have backups of some old Queeman's old content. I try not to hide a lot of stuff on my channel for that reason. Unless I'm willing to put out an edited copy, assuming it's a case. So
sure.
There's a certain point within that. I'm trying to see if there's, since you're here, I'm trying, and you might go over the video. You probably shouldn't waste your time, but you can if you want. I mean, it's definitely, I think, of course, I would think it's a fucking video worth watching. I fucking made the video. Okay. Yeah. You might not like my fucking styling, and I'll definitely listen to what people have to say if I can find it. But yeah, his weird take about Loli. There's also some shit in the past that didn't get brought up. One of those things involved Himpleton at the end of the day. Okay, he
with a call
this
between
weird thing
Quimmen
with
and Flamenco.
Yes, that sort of meme debate thing. I'm like, you're not going to get Flamenco to actually fucking team up with Queeman to fight against, what was him? It was
I think it was Himpleton and Spinling.
Oh, Spinling, yes, that whole group. That whole group, I have reason to suspect they're weird. Okay, but like Ace Howler. Do you know Clappy Seal? Chud made fun of him a while ago. He's a furry.
I don't know who Clappy Seal is. No.
Okay, he did the whole thing. A furry should be a minority group, sort of thing.
Huh.
Okay, if you don't know about it, that's definitely something you should add to the docket because it's funny. And
okay.
What you might not want to do, because it's a no-no in commentary. I get in trouble with commentary by covering certain things in certain ways. Is that it was definitely Clappy Seal and Ace Howler, who fucking sort of been like, went to someone called Zero Needs Coffee, which is small commentary sort of crap. Okay. But supposedly he was getting this underage girl, 17-year-old, porn videos from her, and basically this Clappy Seal, along with his aide of Ace Howler, did a whole exposed video. Wacky TV came in and being like, this is crap, man, and they took it down. Clappy Seal went off and did his weird furry thing. Acer Howler, well, you know where he is now, right? You can look him up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I feel that way about that particular group, okay, which I bring up in my first morale video. So I understand where Tommy's coming from with this. You don't have the evidence. And when you look for the evidence and you can't you notice things missing. I'm not saying this is the case with Tommy C, because he's too lazy to even do that. But
I was going to make the exact same point.
Yeah. But yes, he doesn't have the evidence to prove it. Sometimes the evidence doesn't exist. And sometimes you want to do something to sort of flush out people to move. And I think that was his plan initially. Okay. And he got... And
flush
like
out people to move on what?
To see what they would do in reaction to what he said.
Does that flush anything out, though? Because he's made a big point about the fact that Chud has chosen to respond to the things that Tommy C has said.
Yes,
but,
how he responded.
They were mates, right? Tommy was very, very upset at the fact that Chud spoke about his retirement stream that Chud just happened to raid into after Chud finished his stream.
Yeah, it's all the little things that are just adding up in Tommy's mind. And he probably
can you not
gets
understand
the
how Chud would want to talk about the fact that an ex-friend out of nowhere is coming out and trying to say that he's a snake and just getting kind of things like factually wrong time and time again. So
I just don't know how they can call him friends when Tommy had this weird suspicion since Chud let him jump him on his stream out of nowhere. This is how Tommy sees this, okay? He's like, why would you bring in a guy when we're getting along to just ambush me? And why did you just go along with it?
Right? You've watched that debate, right?
Yes, I watched it from Tommy C's perspective. I'm not even saying it's right or wrong. He just sees it as an ambush, okay? And that that definitely sets off, that probably set off some alarm bells. So he sort of stood back and waited to see other things. He definitely was looking for things to try to find on Chud. He had the suspicion based on that. It seems like, given everything Tommy has said, given with everything that is known, that he tried to find little things, like the little bits of grabbing, using your friends for content, okay, which has become a standard now. As Morale said, commentary's always been about debating and arguing. No, okay. It has been for how long now? 2-3 years. I think that's RFC.
Live streams exacerbate that, but
yes.
Yeah, kind of having like response videos back and forth. That's been like a mainstay for a long time, right?
Yes, and using your chat, trying to bounce between that and chat. Okay, a lot of streamers use chat as sort of a filler when a prompt I've seen. Okay, to sort of put them in action. I mean, better than someone bigger streamers who scan chat to look for certain things to pick up on, like Hassan does sometimes. There's probably
for like during debates, yeah. But I guess one thing that I wanted to pick up from what you were saying there is the annoying thing that I think I find is for people who are generally supportive of Tommy C, when they talk about him and when they talk about the points that he's making, all that they can seem to find themselves doing is essentially treating Tommy like A, he should be in a care home, or B, he should be in like an assisted living facility, right? Like people
I think that's exaggerated for comic appeal, but yeah.
Well, yeah, but people talk about Tommy's points. It's like, well, you know, Tommy, I think what Tommy's talking about is, well, okay, Tommy is like 50 years old. Tommy's an adult, and he's been an adult for a very, very long time. He should be able to come out and say this himself. At what point do we just say, Tommy got his feelings hurt, he's rationalized that, and his rationalizations are retarded?
Because I think that's the wrong reading on this here. Okay.
Really?
Yes, I do think it is. He definitely doesn't have the evidence to back up, but there is definitely little spots here. Like, why would you keep on making about Tommy? Again, the only reason I even think Tommy has any leg to stand on is just how badly Chud responded the first time. Jumping to that particular conclusion seems weird. And he does bring up the fact that Chud doesn't bring up... It's really weird. He talks about it. I don't know if he's watched that video when he responded to it. At one point, Chud Logic says he's watched clips, but then he'll... At another time, it's an inconsistent story. His first response to Tommy C is an inconsistent story. Wouldn't you agree on that?
Well, I think, maybe you don't know, but like as a streamer, usually if somebody's spoken about you, initially they'll send you like YouTube clips from the stream, and then maybe you go through and watch the entire coverage. But obviously, right, the clips stick out in your mind because those are going to be the important points, and that's probably going to shape your perception going into it. So no, I don't think it's very notable. I think if we're being real,
are you saying Chud is a retard basically, so he went along with the clips and let that shape his response to
no, I'm just saying like I'm just being like honest and being fair, right? That's always going to have if you're sent clips of something initially, that's going to shape your perception going in, right?
Yes, and I will agree with that.
When Chud is saying he got sent clips, yeah, he got sent clips. And when Chud says he's watched the whole thing, yeah, he's watched the whole thing. But like both are true.
I guess like both can be true at the same time. I agree.
Right now, Vincent, you've been on Tommy C's side. You've been in his chat. I know you've got a dislike for Queeman. I understand it. You are feeling an intense cognitive dissonance right now. Your mind is ripping itself in two. You know that Tommy C is wrong. You know that Tommy C is retarded. And yet,
yes,
he is a useful pawn in your campaign against Morale and Queeman and Neo commentary.
Okay, now we get the gaslighting. Got it. What gives you this background to psychologically analyze people? I'm curious what background you got to psychologically analyze people.
Okay. I'm making a joke.
I know, man.
Really? Vincent with deep conspiracy theories? Come on.
What? See, even you got him on my
I'm just making I'm just trying to say you don't have granted, I don't think he thinks that far ahead sometimes.
Wow.
No, but
I'll agree.
The thing about it is too, how close. This is something maybe you can answer, Dickers. How much is the state of the original 08 to like 15 crowd of the commentary? Because like if you've been around 10 years, like if you've been around that period, you're going to either be supplanted or retired. Like if you're still at the top of the game, that's why I said like Keemstar and like Philip DeFranco. It's like somehow these people survive at the top of their food chain.
Oh, come on. Keemstar's gotten kicked down many, many times over the years.
I don't know if he really has. People have tried to kick him.
He's been hit down a couple of times here and there over the years. He always comes back, it seems like. Okay. It does seem like he always comes back stronger than ever.
I mean, he's probably on his last legs with the Locale Live stuff, but like in commentary, it's gone through eras because I remember in perspective, I watched it like 16. It was actually YouTube that cracked down on that era. Like they got rid of Leafy and all of them. There
was many jokes about Leafy 20.
When Leafy got terminated,
being sanitized, and he came back recently for a bit. I don't know. Is he gone again?
Probably. Don't know.
Oh, on Twitter, yeah.
Yeah.
So like the idea is like it's like Tommy. Tommy's 50. He's at the top end of the spectrum now. It's like you hear these names that have been here for ages. It's like I was watching, like prime example. I've like occasionally watched when like Turkey Tom puts out a new video. I'm like, you're still around, and then
yes, he keeps his head down. He stopped streaming after this, and Tommy tries to use this as some sort of evidence.
What was it?
Like when he was against Lumpy Willie, talking against Lumpy Willie, I'm like, yeah, I don't think Tom would actually come out and say it. Only Tommy C's willing to go with this stuff. He's the only one willing to take that.
Wasn't it like the whole stuff with his girl? Wasn't it like the stuff with his like the allegations? I remember the stuff with his girlfriend where he like carved it into his chest and stuff. The joke came from like everyone knew about it, but they never said anything.
That lyrics cucked him. Yes, I do remember that.
And they said that was like the worst kept secret in the commentary community. No one talked about.
Yeah, Jaden knew it. Okay, Jaden knew it. Okay, and teased lyrics with it. Okay, I don't know how she knew.
But I'm saying like this stuff has like been around. I'm like, you're still here, but like you talk about like with Tommy, like, but in reality, yes, not all top creators they'll either step aside or they're always going to have a successor that pops out of their community. You're only as relevant as you can be, and someone's always going to supplant you.
Yeah, I think actually what Tiamon is bringing up is very good because Tommy C definitely feels like family commentary. His generation of commentary is his family. Even though he had problems with Nicholas DiOrio, he had this whole little bit about a protege and sort of sculpting him into what he is. And maybe he's sort of seeing that being mirrored in a perverse lefty way from Chud's side. But we sort of went off the thing about Chud. Yeah. The Chud stuff, I think, is important how poorly he responded. I mean, yeah, he could have just...
I don't even know if he responded that poorly, to be honest.
As for that,
I mean, you're going to talk about how poorly Chud responded initially. Out of 10,
hyper focused on the he won't talk. Yes, Tommy C made it clear he didn't want to talk. It seemed like he was trying to be the fair guy by being willing to talk. And yeah, Tommy C comes off as a total asshole, drunk uncle, but that's his right. Yeah. As a guy, it definitely seemed like
if we're then going to talk about
Chud
people,
Logic was trying to make it seem better because he's willing to talk and Tommy wasn't, which is true. But then it's making it seem like that Tommy C wants to talk, which he doesn't. It was just a weird response.
He's not trying to make it as though Tommy C wants to talk. The whole thing here is that Tommy C's like freaking out. Chud has never heard any of this before, and so it probably benefit them both to have a conversation about this. right? They're both like creators. Tommy's clearly got like an upset with him. Surely it'd be beneficial if Tommy would just like speak to him, if they could like hash this out and like have a conversation, and not, I guess, cause unnecessary drama for either of them. Tommy said that Chud not covering his initial video when he first went over it was out of cowardice, but it's just not. It's impossible for Chud to try and watch that video and not come out of it essentially having to like go in really hard on Tommy or completely burn him, right?
Okay, you're trying to speak for Chud now. I'm not trying to speak for Tommy at all, but you're trying to say...
I'm not trying to speak for Chud. I'm just saying, like, realistically, speaking from afar, it's very, very hard to watch, pardon me, the initial stream that Tommy did on Chud. From Chud's perspective, or from any person who that is speaking about, respond to it with how,
I'm sure
like,
Queeman could do a good job. I'm sure there's some people who could do that very cold and cowardly. I mean, cold and callously. Try to put themselves outside. But you're right. For most people, psychologically, if it blindsided them, they would definitely try to make. So the sort of him playing dumb in his response actually makes sense.
Dumb.
Well, that's I'm looking. Chud plays dumb.
The only thing that he spoke about, or that he didn't speak about, was I think it was something to do with the New Year's stream.
Yes.
There's something about. Was it about Tom initially? It was like one point that he missed, and Tommy decided to claim victory after that in a very gay, annoying way.
I don't think he claimed victory on that.
He
conceded recently that he got a point wrong. Chud was right about a certain point.
Okay. But after Chud gave his response, Tommy C made it a big point that Chud never mentioned the Bo Black criticism, or never mentioned the Turkey Tom criticism. I forget which of the two. But it's just like one point that he left out, and he responded to everything else.
Yeah, he completely didn't talk about the New Year's Eve stream, and that struck Tommy as suspicious. It strikes me as suspicious since it is when he really just starts with the point that comes up at the 20-minute marker, where he completely goes off. Again, that reading's insane. And yeah, you're right. The J-Stock Queeman sort of bit about probably influenced how he saw it, even if he watched the whole stream. Why would he not even bring up something that's that was most of it? Most of what Tommy C was talking about was the New Year's stream. And even if he got some facts incorrect, why not just point out what Tommy got wrong about that? But you're saying because of the psychological nature and the surprise, that's why he didn't do it? That's your reading of it?
Well, I mean, it's just very, very hard to watch that and then not have to like completely burn Tommy C, right? If you want to keep
why should he care about?
If you want to
you're
have a
saying he's
conversation,
such a nice guy who doesn't want to burn Tommy C. That's what you're saying here, and maybe that's correct.
I mean, that is just going to be like that's the end of the conflict, right? It kind of has to go to like the most hot point, rather than having a conversation where maybe a lot of this stuff could have been hashed out. The only reason why this has been going on for like 2 weeks or whatever is because Tommy C refuses to speak to Chud, right? Okay. A lot of the things that he's had to concede on, and that he's been like shown to be wrong on. Do you not think that Chud could have like clarified that from day one?
He probably could have. He probably should have actually waited and looked it over and try to figure out before moving forward. Definitely should have watched it and cooled down. That's what I would have done if to Tommy's video.
Crisis management.
Yeah, they do. Okay.
I mean, like, here's the thing. Like, usually I find when I have issues, like with me, Renowned and LG, like I have to. Oh God. I'm kind of tell them, "Well, you might want to fix this situation." And sometimes I'll start stuff by like. My first initial inclination is to talk to the person I know I have the issue with, because I know by the time I have to go.
Not yet. Get a timestamp. I mean, I'll take a look through it.
So I say what amazes me, and I guess I can ask, like, why didn't Tommy just go to? If your first response is just to make a video or respond, either you have existing bad blood in the first place between the two people, or he could have just gone to Chud and said, maybe in private, I'm sure they talk. Hey, bro,
but he doesn't trust him. Okay, why would you go in public and trust this? He's trying to force something.
So there was already
We
bad.
can go
That
and
I don't
verify
know.
the information, right? I mean, realistically, if Tommy was anyone else, what we would have probably, thought would be the best case of action would be go to the person in private, speak to them, have a conversation. If they give explanations for things, or if they try and say, "Oh no, this was because of this. Oh no, this what you don't understand." Okay, let me give you the context. You try and then verify that, look into it a little bit more, maybe try to do anything to look into any of this at all. Probably before you go out on a stream and try and level public accusations against somebody, right?
But it's not an accusation. He doesn't.
He's accused
everyone's
of being a snake.
Yes, he thinks Chud Logic is a snake because of all these things. He thinks it's not something that he can prove, and he made that very clear. He tried to use these little things to sort of be like, "This is why I don't trust him."
Now, be honest, mate. Okay, if it was just the fact of him thinking it, I don't care about what Tommy C thinks. All I can really, criticize is what he comes out and tries to realistically argue and prove on a public live stream. He didn't just say it offhandedly, "Oh yeah, Chud, I kind of think he's a snake," right? He planned a segment to go through all the reasons why he thought this Chud Logic guy was a snake, an evil guy. He's got no loyalty. All this kind of all this kind of stuff.
I think just the one thing had him randomly.
Admit
What
it.
was
You
it
are
that
treating
prompted
Tommy
this
C
again?
in a
Hold
way
on,
you
hold
would
on, hold
treat
on,
no
hold on.
other
Let's
person.
go back to what prompted this, the sort of thing, the little bit that Chud did about Nicholas DiOrio just covering all the Ethan drama and shit like that. I think that's what prompted this in the end. And I'm trying to think. You said 2 weeks ago, I'd rather go to the stream. And I think he also brought up the McMad video in relations. Okay.
Chud?
No, Tommy C brought up the McMad in relations. It got him to think about that. I'll have to take a look at that. Go back over it on my own. The McMad video on. I remember it being a rather horrible video for McMad, but I don't remember the details because I wasn't critically looking at it. But that is what that was one of the little things that seemed to have led to it.
Maybe, but I mean, Chud didn't have any relation to the McMad video, right?
Not that I know of. It was probably clips sent to Tommy C that memory is a weird thing. And
this is the problem with Chud, with Tommy kind of compiling so much of what Queeman has done into what Chud has done to form this opinion. I think the heart of a lot of this is Tommy C thinks that Chud moves the same way that people in his group move. They just don't.
No, he thinks they are lefty version of what his group does. Yes,
and he's completely politically brain rotted.
Yeah, there is a little bit of
just
brain rot in there.
Substitute with that with demonic, and you get an idea of what Tommy thinks.
Yeah, I think that's pushing it. You're
So
good faith in all actions of Chud and doing the weirdest things.
Listen. Okay, I'll be real. I think there might be a criticism that somebody could give over Chud leaking the stuff about Boblex, right? I don't know if I necessarily agree with it. There is a critique that somebody could give there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the angle that Tommy C has gone in it is completely retarded. I think this is the problem. That even if maybe you can kind of squint your eyes and see a good critique in there, you yourself are coming up with the good critique and the good points. Tommy C doesn't know anything about any of this.
Tommy C. Okay, Tommy C. Isn't coming up. Yeah, I'll agree. Tommy C is just sort of baiting out something. He sort of brought up in his second reactions, if I'm remembering correctly, that he was just sort of did this little segment to sort of suss out how Chud Logic would respond and based his response based off of that. Sort of like what he did with Aiden, if you watch that in particular. Okay. Did you follow the Aiden stuff recently where he talked about the little formal HR letter?
Yeah.
I don't know
Aiden's just
Aiden
a
or watch him enough to know
autistic
if
guy,
that's
to be fair. He's
yeah.
nice, but he's just got a little
He's
touch
a
of
reform
autism,
Spurg. I would say he's definitely from that Spurg era. One of those people like Colton. That's how he's documented. I don't know who he is in reality. It's hard to know that from anything, but he has that reputation of that sort of Spurgy sort of nature that a lot of those Spurg content people got into.
I don't know if I call Aiden a Spurg, but no. I think he's just he has a tendency for being a little bit overly formal or like overly verbose. But apart from that, I can't think I can't see there's much criticism of Aiden in there.
With
Tommy C just seems to have a personal issue with Aiden.
I don't know enough of those details. That's just a sideline. That's something I wanted to bring up. That he definitely went with his gut instinct with there. And they brought up this old drama back in the past. And with the green M&M's meme, that's hilarious to me still. Sorry. The Tucker Carlson. It's related to something that you guys aren't aware of. Have you heard of the woke right discourse at all? I'm just curious. I'm just seeing if it's made it outside right-wing circles.
I've vaguely heard about it. It's like people on the right who'll virtue signal over anti-Semitism, right?
If you get down to the brass tacks, that's something I can discuss a lot more because I know a lot of those details.
I mean, the issue with the idea of
TM on. I'm not trying to pivot to anything. A separate question because I haven't
even watched it yet, mate.
No, I was just gonna say it's basically the idea. What is the end point of a movement when the radical parts of the wing eat themselves?
I can agree with Queeman. It is gay
because the idea, right? I guess you're in the UK. The idea is okay. If you're fighting a puritanical left person, at what point does a person on the opposite side become exactly like them? So it's kind of...
Oh, God.
It's a
Sorry,
strange...
it's my mistake. Okay,
no, it's fine. It's just
I'm
the
used
idea...
to it, but I don't like to have you suffer for it. Go on, TM on.
It's just... It's in trigonometry stuff, but it's this idea that one movement that's fighting another becomes what they're fighting. Long story short.
Yes, okay. You become you fight against something long enough, you become what you hate. Queeman's bringing up my gay hit piece. Of course, he has to frame it that way. He doesn't come from the satirical rings of things. But at the end of the day,
yeah,
I do want to ask you about one point. Okay, I don't want to spoil too much in case you want to react to it. But there is a certain section I want opinion on, and you are a good person for that, I think, because I dropped the sort of grifter bit. I keep on bringing it back up to say it doesn't matter if someone's a grifter or not. If they got a good point, they got a good point. That's how the sort of grifter bit in the title sort of hinges on that. I found it very interesting. Queeman, you're in chat. You didn't find the Dark Viper stuff interesting, or did you private some of those streams you covered it? I just don't see anything on your channel about it, if he's still here.
About Dark Viper?
Yeah, against Chud. Okay. I didn't see any content from Queeman on that. But he could have privated or did something, or have one of his gay little titles that I couldn't see it inspecting his channel.
I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
I saw Queeman in chat. I thought I would ask about that. Yeah. I wish I could have clipped some of these downs, but I was trying to keep in the contents. But yes, for this
Dog Viper stuff because he didn't want to get struck. That makes a lot of sense.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Makes sense. Risky. But here's sort of a point that coincides as an ultra instinct spur.
That doesn't mean that the fucking money for the Hassan video is now in some sort of a contract with a media company that was never involved in any of this shit. It just means I'm going to keep doing. It just means I'm going to keep doing work for you. Which, by the way, confirms. Shut the fuck up, Queeman. That confirms the work for January was done with satisfaction.
I don't, but legally, but ethically, to me, that does mean.
Ethically or legally, like Queeman, what is your ethical system? The whole bit was also trying to lead to nihilism, ethical nihilism, hedonism, and what did I say? Egotism, hedonism, and ethical nihilism. Okay. So I try to relate this point.
It's a company. If you've attributed that to the company, that does mean.
I don't give a fuck about your morals. You are a piece of shit.
You reminded me. Doomer might be a fucking spurg, but damn, he's entertained when he spurgs out. If the argument, Dark Viper, AU, made against Judd Logic.
It's a lot, but it includes the entire video.
Of course, I don't really care that it's illegal. I care more that it is grossly immoral for reasons I have also explained today.
See, I did a video on A Viper Comes for a Chud is the video that I did covering this. I tried to figure out Dark Viper's moral system, and that was rather fucking hard. Okay. So, Dickers, as an outside observer, do you not find these arguments similar? When it comes to legal, they'll back off to a moral and ethical, but their moral and ethics are rather murky. Like with Dark Viper, the best chance I had to find out his moral system is a video where the great debate against Destiny. And that made me think Destiny is a psychopath, and maybe so is Dark Viper from that. I cut that from the video.
I think usually they'll try and pivot from the legal argument, just because the legal argument gets into like untested areas of law where there isn't precedent. There's not even like statutes that you can really look at, and it's essentially people with no legal training then arguing for hours and hours and hours about, you know, legal topics they've got no idea. They might the conversation might actually be meaningless legally, right? But they wouldn't know because they've got no legal training. So usually, at least if I'm gonna ever pivot from my like, you know, from like legal arguments, or I try not to get too heavy into them. It's bad practice.
Yeah, we're not lawyers. We don't have the expertise to really decipher the law. Well,
but then
Freeman obviously does when it suits him, because I saw he had a tweet about the legal. But that's besides the point. Go on.
But I think if you're listening to an ethics argument or a moral argument that somebody is like making, and then spend a lot of time trying to figure out what their moral system is, like I don't think most people are going to have like a coherent like ethical framework planned out in their head before they ever speak about
it's
ethics.
Usually a patchwork of different things. Like mine tends to be a very truth ethics, as annoying as it is and how much it comes off as autistic. You want this to fact check? So I understand why you guys are going after Tommy C for getting these little things wrong. The problem with that is when you focus on the little things that they get wrong, instead of focusing on the general thesis, I think you're missing the point. But that's my opinion on that. Okay. But when it comes down to it, it's also my own moral system is about a really weird mashup of rules. Consequentialism, okay? Try to think. If you're smart enough and you're in a position of power, you should have a duty to think things throughout. And I think Willie definitely does that. Turkey Tom probably overdoes that. Nicholas Diorio definitely does that, and probably does some weird stuff, like the whole conversation with Mama Max. John Swan, he has a history of sort of getting people in that. But yeah,
but what I'm saying is, if you're listening to Queeman's, like the way that Queeman argues about stuff, and then trying to tease out, is he a consequentialist?
I think he's a nihilist. Okay, straight up a nihilist. Okay,
that's what he has moral conversations.
Yes,
he uses moral labels. So surely he thinks that moral labels and moral he thinks that ethics is real, right?
Yeah, but what the system is, he does use the enemy's playbook against him, the rules for radicals.
Yeah, but that's not a nihilist.
No, but that's what someone who has trying to hide their own ethics system would do.
I think that's a very, very easy kind of like thing to fall back on. If you can't figure out like a coherent ethical like worldview for somebody, essentially the default is just to assume they don't have one and they don't care about ethics at all, and they're completely like nihilistic, right?
Ethical nihilism has a freaking little rules within it. Okay, if you get into ethics, there is a certain processy even to ethical nihilism. Like the world, there is no God. God is dead.
That's
at the end of the day,
that's not ethical nihilism. That's Nietzsche.
Yes, but that's sort of can tie, as you said. Saying, I agree. Saying just putting someone in a box with those little things that I did in my little guessing about the ethical system of Queeman based on what I know about him. Could you take a guess at his ethical or moral system?
I
mean, you don't have to. You
no,
can pass.
I don't know,
okay.
to be honest.
Just want to know if
I don't know.
About
if I had to guess, it'd be some kind of like consequentialist, kind of rules-based, I guess rule utilitarianism, maybe. I don't know though. That's like my best guess. He
focuses on non-material issues and tends to get away from real-world issues, the hypotheticals. I just think he's old school debate bro.
System, right?
Hmm?
If he goes on and uses like hypotheticals, even if they're like, you know, exotic hypotheticals that like you can't really figure out exactly what he's trying to say with them, right? That's not an implication on his moral system.
No, it's not. Okay, it's just a certain tactic someone does. Typically, when you want to not actually take a position personally on something, it's one of those hypotheticals. Or you could use it like morale and just keep on hammering them with all the hypotheticals autistically and not take anything in response. Oh, God, that guy. Okay. It just hurts my head, okay? That's why I looked into it. Well, I was also in Himpleton's server. I was on one stream with him, and I'm just like, why the fuck? I never enjoyed those streams. I'm like, why the fuck, Himpleton, are you doing these fucking streams? But yeah,
anyway, I'm going to have to head out now, but I will say, you're a lot more pleasant to speak to in person than I thought you'd be.
I try to be. I don't try to be an asshole, but the whole debate me bro thing, I was playing that up as a meme.
Oh,
like,
okay.
I dealt with VC. Oh, well, I'm sorry. VQ. You know that troll who got
yeah.
I was trying to get some information out of him. It was like pulling teeth. Okay, he kept doing, why you run? I just finally like, let me just fuck with him, okay, and do this debate me bro. I'm serious about actually doing the debate me bro thing if it comes down to it, even if I'm ill-equipped. But
yeah. I mean, it's fair, if you do want to plan something out and you've got like a specific topic, maybe it'd be fun to like prepare for something. But yeah, anyway, let me know. But I'm gonna head out. Have a good day, guys.
Yeah, peace out. Bye-bye.
Chat you later. Bye.
And I should end this because I'm already at my limit. I was at my limit an hour in. I poorly planned for this. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking. You still here, Timon? What did you think about all that? You've been dealing with your little
I'm still dealing with it. Shit. No, actually.
You're always dealing with that. There's always drama in your fucking I swear it's more autistic than the commentary shit. I wouldn't touch that shit with a 10-foot.
No, you don't want to touch it. I don't recommend my sector of the internet for nobody. You know, my outside is, I get it. It's like I stepped out of stuff, but I'm like, yeah, because I see a lot of the old heads that argue, and I see it's the orbiters that come in and incite violence or discord and harmony or whatever you call it. And I'm like, but I also remember, like, you would have creators go at each other. But if there's enough bad blood, I just don't know if they don't talk anymore or it's just they're a slave to the content cycle. They're like, oh, we got an issue, bro. Let's hash it out. Well, that would require, I guess, people
a
doing
shared worldview. Okay,
it requires at least a common cause and some understanding.
I like what Tommy did on his recent thing where he debated people like Hellbent. Okay, it's not great what he did, but he was like, he brought them in, be like, okay, these are the rules. We're gonna play by these rules. And with Lumpy Willie, when he came in, he was like, okay, I broke the rules myself, so I'll give you a pass. I thought how he conducted at least that debate was fair. Do I think how he went at Chud was completely fair? No. I think he was sort of testing out the waters with his feelings. And Chud's response, everyone's has a right to their opinion. Okay, at the end of the day, we're all just shitters who are just trying to do our best figuring out stupid
like,
shit.
if it stems from, I think I saw you prior, they're like, he got a hold of some information and some misconception leads to another, basically. It's a weird...
It's not a hit piece. It's a satire. Just to let everyone know, they're framing of a hit piece. I would try to get something more substantial than fucking fucking do the video I did.
Dude, I have threatened with people I dislike. I've been threatening to do down the rat. I've been trying to. I told them if I really cared and hated you, I would do down the rabbit hole on you. And I would hate myself to do that. But no, I look at with what you're dealing. Like, I look at the people. It's like, if it's enough to talk about it and cover, yeah. Because there's also that point of when the gods in your space start fighting, you have to either ask why. You can either get involved or observe it. It's not, and then there's the problem of, oh, mommy and daddy are fighting. Whose side do you take?
Yeah, I generally don't side with anyone. I generally
you don't. I think it's a wise.
Yeah, I with this particular thing, they're completely right. I'm definitely thinking Tommy C has something with what he's going with. I think it's overblown. His personal commentary standards is something that is part of the problem, and period. General, but I don't think Chud trying to make it like Tommy not wanting to talk it out with him is something that proves anything. They're both retards at the end of the day.
Here's a rule I've often found.
Oh, God.
You know the phrase.
Maybe.
Have you ever heard the phrase, you live
by the sword, you die by the sword.
You'll either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself
God, I'm
become
trying
the
to
villain.
close up.
That's what I'm saying.
I'll let this one guy, I have no clue. Don't get me banned. Okay. I'm trying to do closing remarks. I seen your name around. What's your 2 cents?
Oh, hey, what's up? Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, you have a better voice than me or Diamond, okay, so.
Okay. Yeah, I was just going to bring up the Tommy C thing, right? So you sided more with, like, Tommy?
I'm thinking he has a more relevant point, but I didn't actually think that until after Chud responded, okay? I sometimes give people leeway and see how the response is. I did the same with the as stuff when he freaked out about pronouns. His response was horrible. So maybe my standards for this is not in line with you guys, but go on.
What I took from it was that he was, he kept referencing people like in vagaries and stuff. So it was obvious that like there were other people that were upset, but nobody was actually willing to say anything or talk to anybody.
Yeah.
So it kind of just made everyone look really immature. Like the whole thing was really stupid, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so I think that and him referencing people like that not only made him look worse, but it made like everyone around him look worse that he was referencing, because he would do that, and then most of them besides Willie didn't even make any public statements or anything about it. So he didn't get any backup whatsoever. And I don't even think
Willie's comment even stayed up. It looked hidden. It was weird. I would have to
maybe
go back.
He took it down or something, but he said a few things, which is fine or whatever. But it's like, if you have an issue with somebody, if you're an adult, just go talk to him or something. It's just it's like it reminds me of Discord. Like people talk shit about Discord, right? Mostly because you get these insular groups and
oh, trust me, I know about this. I know way more about that than I know about this bullshit currently going on in commentary.
Yeah, so you get, people will talk shit and then they'll work themselves up, and then, these beefs happen randomly because everything is so insular. So,
and you'll get some people who sometimes when they get criticism, they just freak out. You have to wonder why they freak out about it.
Well, I think it's different though too. I mean, most of the time people are used to it, especially if you're like making any kind of content. Like you're always going to get people that shit on you or whatever. I mean, it's just different if you have like respect
make content
for them,
off
right?
of it, okay? It's just like sometimes when some people just do these outrageous lies, I'm always suspicious when the response is off. But what Dicker's brought up about Chud Logic being taken by surprise and actually being influenced by fucking Jay Stock and Queeman's little gas little clip going over Tommy's stuff, I think that's not an adult thing to do either. Okay, that's not something that's adult to do either.
Are you saying that Chud was influenced by Jay Stock and Creeman, or Tommy
apparently because no, yeah, well, both of them were affected by definitely Queeman. Queeman definitely has his fingers in a couple of pies and tries to push people. Okay, in certain.
I don't really think that's true though. I don't know. I don't really agree with that.
Yeah, I don't have enough substantial to actually say that's the
case. What it sounds like to me? It sounds like they're very insular, right? They're always talking to each other. They have group DMs and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And I feel like they assume that is what's going on with Chud and Queeman, that they're, if he's criticizing them on his stream or something, that they're in the DM, blah, 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 and all that, venting and all that stuff. So they think he's like not manipulated, but he has some kind of effect. But I really don't think they do at all.
No, I don't think they do anything explicit. Okay, I think it's a lot of reading between the lines. If you're smart enough to navigate through this, it almost seems like survival of the fittest with people like Queeman. A lot of that's Spurg content, though. That's always been Spurg content. Survival of the fittest, wild accusations. They get wild enough, they get brought up on Doc in the radio or whatever.
What are you talking about? The wild accusations? I don't really feel like there were wild accusations being floated around in the Tommy.
No, not for this. Not for this. Like the Lolicon stuff with lyrics, okay, which they constantly teased him about.
But what does that have to do with
it's an example. Tommy? It's just an example of Spurg's type content, and I don't think Queeman and a lot of his orbiters are the same. They do it in a really weird, like dog warts. I'm still never going to get over why Morale does the dog warts bullshit.
I don't even know what that is.
You don't know. It's better you don't know, Matt. Oh god.
Okay, but I don't understand what you mean though. Like Spurg content. What is that? I don't understand what.
Did you ever watch any of the old Spurg content? It's like trying to find the stupidest reasons with the smallest amount of evidence to make weird accusations. You bring them on someone like Doc on the radio, and they would like autistically argue about how you're a pedophile because of this, or this.
Yeah, like blood sports type stuff or whatever.
Yeah,
right?
it's a very blood.
But that's not. That's
what Spurg content almost became.
But I don't think that's what anyone's doing, right? Like Queeman or Chud aren't calling any of the old commentary guys pedophiles. There was that one joke that some random person did, but that's a joke. So
yeah, I don't really think it's the there's a lot of bad ideas you can sneak in with jokes. Okay, there is still a lot of things. Humor. Maybe this is
nobody made like an actual accusation of that though or anything. It was just I don't know. People joke about all kinds of stuff all the time.
Yes,
but
yes.
It's not serious unless there's a serious accusation made. Typically.
See, there's at a certain point where if you keep repeating something over and over again, and people keep accepting it, even if it is a joke, eventually some people are going to take it seriously. Other people are going to join in and think it's serious. I mean, I've been victim. I've caused that myself, so I know exactly what that's about. People misinterpret how you're sort of laying something out. They're like, this guy's trying to say this guy's a groomer. I'm like, yeah, I'm not. Okay. I'm saying grooming isn't just a sexual thing. Okay. You can groom people in all sorts of ways. But you don't know about that. And as I said, you're coming at the end. You're coming at the end, so I'm running out of gas. Restate. Okay. What's the last thing you want to say? Because I do need to close up.
No. It's fine. I haven't seen your hit. So what's the thing that you made on Queeman? I haven't watched it yet.
Oh,
it's like it's satirical, you said?
There's a satirical element, but I'm not going to use it's a joke defense. There is a purpose to what I do. I was tempted to actually say I'm not trying to call him a pedophile for bringing up
you call him
stuff.
A pedophile? Do you just call him a pedophile the entire time in the
video? I don't. I literally don't. It's just the fact that I bring up his sort of spat with card posting. Queeman has some. Yes.
That was epic too. That thumbnail is
okay. He was questioning it,
but card posting that wasn't even a joke. He was being serious.
No, he's autistic. I'm sure he's being serious, but he does the whole card.
No, that's what I'm saying. Sorry. Yeah, he was being serious, but they like worked it out. Or
dog whistling thing, and he wanted questions.
Yeah,
and just the sort of. Sorry, maybe I'm picking up too much from Queeman's coverage, but he focuses way like Chud. He focused on like, is this guy calling me a pedophile or something? I don't know what's going on. This sort of stupid act. So
well, he did the thumbnail was a picture of Queeman with nunts and an arrow pointed. So I don't know. He kind of was.
Did he miss the question mark? Okay. Did he use the question mark? I forget.
Yeah. There's a question mark, but he's like begging the question, right? Is this guy a pedophile?
Yeah, but he was willing to talk it out with Queeman. Okay, I would like Queeman to actually, because I went through the whole lolly wars. That's why I have my little bait thing that they try to do.
Lolly wars. What's that?
That's what I call it. With a whole bunch of commentators just doing debates against pro lolicons versus anti lolicons. It just became retarded ass content, in my opinion. I'm like, yes, the lolicons are fucking weirdos who might be pedophiles. Okay, but why are you pressing this so much for content? That was one of the things.
Yeah, the topics get old and repetitive, especially those. It's like. And it's not even like really a pleasant topic. So
it's a red flag. Okay. Being a lolicon is a red flag. You don't masturbate.
What was up with that guy earlier? He said that your shorts had lolicon in it or something. I just had the stream on headphones, though. I wasn't looking at what you guys were playing.
Oh yeah.
He was trying to go for the weird I got you shit. And it's just
Yes, it was some bait because I definitely do utilize bait to see if people come after me and with accusations. And I have very firm stances on certain things. My Tommy C sort of stance isn't that great. Okay. I think he has good instincts. And again, if Chud didn't come out with such a weird response, and maybe people are right, he was just took him by surprise, or maybe Tommy C's right. Chud is just plain dumb. Or maybe he is dumb. Or doesn't view the world the same way as Tommy C. I think this is like old commentary versus new commentaries talking past each other.
I think he just got mad because all of Chud's like, I don't know what you want to call it, orbiters or whatever, but it was like Dickers and Queeman. They all did that like psyop, and he was just really mad about that. And so once Chud had any criticism for Nick, he decided to like go all in or whatever, right? Maybe he got some venting from one of those guys. But
I think he really just thinks
I think it mostly has
the
to do
bias
with
against
him
the
being upset
leftist
about
thing.
that.
I do think it's the bias against leftists. And it's just weird, like the Queeman covering Smash AT in a positive light. Because that's more that what I've been going deep dive in over the last year or so. I'm just like, why is he doing this? Why is he covering this in this way? But again, I'm running out of steam.
It's always bad when spheres cross over, because usually what I see is that's where I see the weird stuff happens. Either one or two things happens. The old guard begins to break down. As I said, the phrase is you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Yes, this is a generational gap, and it's political in nature that gets really weird. Okay, it's hard to tell. A stream left and a stream right can sometimes be hard to distinguish. And there is something I really want to know, but that's for a different stream that I should plan for better, probably next weekend. So thanks to anyone who came along. And Shamu, do you have content? Do you have a channel?
I have a channel. They can just search my name or whatever. But yeah, it was good talking to you, man. Have a good night. Peace, guys.
Yeah, have a good night, or for me, good morning. Peace out. Bye-bye. Maybe I should, different thought.